What is up, everyone? Welcome to the 2024 Valorant Game Changers SEA Stage 1 Finals. We have come a long way to get here, but now we're down to our final two teams to see who is going to take that first place spot. I'm Paper Thin. Joining me today is Zach here on the desk, and I'm absolutely honored and thrilled to be here. This has been an incredible series so far, and now we've got our two best teams, XIPTO versus BOBA. Zach, how are you feeling about this one?
I mean, I honestly, when I saw the team sheets and when I was going through the rosters, I feel like, this was the ultimate confrontation, the final grand battle. And I was very pleasantly surprised because we did have a lot of very close games in that group. During the playoff stage, there were a lot of new teams that really demonstrated themselves very promisingly, I would say. So I'm looking forward to seeing them in stage 2. But yeah, BOBA and XIPTO, it did seem inevitable in a way that this is where we would end. And if you look at both these teams, right, they're both very interesting because BOBA is basically what SMG did last year. They picked 5 players, arguably the best of the regions, put them together, and had a 34-0 record. And, well, XIPTO is basically that SMG core, so it's like the few queens trying to take down the old queens, and personally, I'm down for it. I'm here for
it. It's really interesting. I mean, of course, XIPTO hasn't dropped a map yet so far since last year, so they've been absolutely insane so far this year. But BOBA, a real pleasant surprise, defeating Aura Differential yesterday, 2-0, but a relatively close 2-0. So I think definitely some things that BOBA is working on. It seems like they're still at times trying to put all the pieces together, but what they've been able to accomplish in this short amount of time has been truly remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was mentioned as well, the team barely had a week of practice after being put together before the group stage started. So I think that it has been a little bit of a rough road for them in terms of finding that synergy. Great point that you made there, though. XIPTO just has that synergy with that core being together for so long, and of course the 34-0 record. That said, though, I mean, before we head deeper into talking about these teams, I think we do have a little video voiced by our own Victoria Cheng to explain the format for Game Changers SEA.
This is the Valorant Game Changers SEA 2024. There will be 2 stages this year, Stage 1 and Stage 2. There will be an open in each stage and a group stage in Stage 2. The top 4 winners of Stage 1 will be seeded into Stage 2's group stage. The opens for Stage 1 will be held from the 26th to the 29th of March, and the playoffs will be from April 1st to the 5th. The opens for Stage 2 will be held in early July, followed by the group stage and playoffs. In Stage 1 Open, the top 8 teams will proceed to playoffs, and the top 4 teams will be seeded into the group stage of Stage 2. Stage 1 has a total prize pool of $10,000. In Stage 2 Open, the top 12 teams and the top 4 from Stage 1 playoffs will be seeded into group stage. The group stage consists of 4 teams of 4, and the top 2 teams of each group will proceed to playoffs. Stage 2 has a $10,000 prize pool. Visit gamechangers.fsl.gg for more information for Valorant Game Changers SEA 2024.
And so now we've got a rundown of how all of this works, but here's a more in-depth look at the format here for Game Changers 2024 SEA, as we are all looking forward to seeing, what teams are going to make their way to Game Changers Pacific later on this year. But so far, it's been really quite exciting. Some really good teams. Again, a lot of shuffling around with some of the rosters, Zach, but getting to that Pacific is the real goal here for all these teams.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And I mean, everyone has made a top 4 here already. They have a little bit of a easier time in being able to directly make it to that group stage for Stage 2. But like you said, the ultimate goal is to make it to that top 3. So it is going to be the greater weightage given to the Stage 2 playoffs. So I think that while Stage 1, it's important in terms of being able to get yourself a little bit further ahead, maybe scope out your competition. It's more of I would say a practice run here. Yes, it's really good that you can get a nice little bit of change to your pocket, but more than that, it's just testing the waters, kind of seeing how the new landscape for SEA Game Changers has panned out here, because like you mentioned, there have been a lot of those game roster shuffles, a lot of really new talent coming up in some teams, and personally it makes me really happy, because I think for the last couple of years it's always been the same 3 or 4 teams that we see kind of rotating around the top 3, top 4, and 2024 is just like completely almost a brand new slate, so it's pretty fantastic.
Well, like all things, change is inevitable, but let's take a look at some of the highlights from yesterday of the BOBA versus Aura Differential match. A really exciting match in a lot of ways. I thought some huge plays coming through. One of the names that really sticks out to me for Aura Differential yesterday was Grams. I mean, I'm a big, s'mores fan, so obviously graham crackers are like really, really nice for me, but I thought like she was really incredible. Some of the flicks she was having were insane, but at the end of the day, this cracked BOBA squad was able to get over the line.
Yeah, they were able to pull it together in the end, but like you said, really good showing coming out of Aura Differential on both of these maps. It's especially impressive when you consider that they have like 2 players who are basically playing in their first ever tournament, one of them being Grahams. So if Grahams can do this to players who have been veterans of the scene for 3 years in her first tournament, I cannot wait to see what else she has going. Especially, when you see somebody lock in that Reyna on a lot of these maps like Grahams does, you just know that they are feeling it that day, because Reyna's just that agent where you don't get anything unless you're able to pop off. So yeah, Grahams has been very impressive. That said though, BOBA, I think they have some very strong individual players. Like Kohibi, of course, needs no introduction. Basically, I think was a key part of putting together that SMG squad last year, and she's done it again. She and her coach have put together another team that has the potential to be a super team here with the kind of players they have. Baby TZ in particular on these Sentinels, very impressive. No matter what you put her on, it seems like she's just born to play duelist, because I think it comes with the chamber, but when someone does the same thing on the Cypher or the Killjoy, it just makes you wonder, like, is it the agent or is it the player?
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of questions with, ever since the chamber nerf, like, was that player going to be able to carry over their success off of that agent? We've seen some mixed results, but it's really impressive to see her continue to find a lot of value on other agents, other roles. Baby TZ, though, absolutely phenomenal as a Sentinel, locking down these sites so well for BOBA. I like the way she grabs the Outlaw as well to really help do some serious damage, particularly in those anti-eco rounds. Really impactful then, because then you force your opponent to also grab the full armors in the follow-up round. So I really like what I saw of them. Some good pistol rounds and things like that. What do you think is like the best thing you saw at BOBA yesterday? Like, what really set them apart?
I think that for BOBA, they had some really nice executes. I think we were talking about this in the before we headed onto the panel as well, right? They have some really good set executes. They take a lot more space in terms of how they play, and personally, I really like the level of map control that they have in most of their confrontations. Even, I think, in their previous, because BOBA has played XIPTO twice before, once in that group stage and once on stream in that upper bracket, and while both times it was a 2-0, I think they were the only team that really pushed XIPTO to their limits, and I feel like if there had been a little bit more of an impact from the whole team in terms of working together, because at least in their first game they looked a little bit psyched out, or I don't know, they looked a little bit lost on that map, but I think that once they got themselves into it, they were able to bring it back together, bring it to like 9-13, very close score lines. And I'm hoping today that, depending on the map veto, they have the chance to push it even further here, because I do think BOBA has the power, has like the potential to give XIPTO a good fight, a good run for their money, if not outright take them down, but I haven't seen it coming together in the last few times we've seen them play.
Yeah, it's going to be a really uphill battle, no doubt about it. I mean, XIPTO, obviously the favorites coming into this, haven't dropped a map, so we know that they are still rocking and rolling just like we saw last year with their core. So really excited to see how this is all going to break down. Let's take a quick look here at our bracket and just kind of see how we got to this point. Now, a lot of really interesting matches along the way. Outside of XIPTO, I thought some teams that maybe people were expecting a little bit more out of, like MKS, looked really strong, but then Aura Differential kind of really exploded.
For sure. I mean, I think MKS was like one of my top 3 picks when we headed into this tournament, just because they have that roster stability. The core coming in from that Sapphire core that has been playing for Fulsons as well as X10 over the last 2 years. You have expectations of a team like that, especially when they did end up representing APAC in that first Game Changer Championship. But yeah, roster shuffles, and they just didn't look like the same Sapphire from that last year, which, I mean, they're not. They have 2 new players, of course, but still, like you said, really strong lower bracket. I feel like some of these lower bracket games have been the most pleasantly surprising in terms of like what players are bringing to the table. So I was really, really happy to watch some of it, especially like this game that Boba played against Aura yesterday. It was, like you said, it was a 2-0, but it doesn't tell the whole story, especially how back and forth these games were and how tenacious both of them were. And personally, I think that's a good sign for Boba, because in their previous games against XIPTO, when XIPTO were steamrolling, starting to get that momentum up, it seemed like they really couldn't find an answer unless they took a timeout and maybe did like some kind of thrifty shenanigans. Somebody got a 4K and won it. I feel like they depend a lot on those individual plays, but yesterday we saw a little bit more cohesion coming out of the team on a lot of the maps that they faced before against XIPTO. So I'm hoping that we see a little bit more of the same.
Absolutely. Well, I think it looks like we are ready for a break, anyone. So hold tight. We'll be back shortly with more here at Game Changers 2024. Oh, wait, maybe not. We're not quite ready. Are we coming back? Sorry about that. I thought maybe on my screen I'm seeing the break screen. So I was like, oh, maybe we're going to break. No. We're not quite there yet. No, I think like Boba has a lot to work on, and I think some of the things that impressed me yesterday was their ability to not only take space, but then find nooks and crannies that they could exploit against Aura Differential, and that might be something here today that they're going to need to dial up to get over XIPTO, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I think that XIPTO in particular, they have a very deep map pool, and I think it's going to come down to, like you said, the little things that could push Boba over the line here. I think that, like you said, they are a little bit of the underdog here, but individually, there's no fault to be found with any of the players on this team. They just need to be able to find that synergy and working together, because that's what really XIPTO excels at. Like, yes, of course, Inari can drop a 5K by yourself. So can any of the other players on the team. That's not the point. It's what they can do together, and that's where really the magic came in, both for SMG last year as well as for XIPTO this year. And they still have that in spades, and I think that's going to be the strongest argument against Boba winning today. The fact that XIPTO just have that core synergy, that core experience together, as well as just a very, very deep map pool, because they're the same core from that last year. They don't have to go through thinking about new strats and stuff. Like, yes, of course, you're evolving on what you already know, but they don't have to start from scratch, and that's just such a huge advantage to have in a grand final.
No doubt about it. All right, guys. Well, now we are ready for a break. So we will be back very shortly, just a couple minute breaks. And we are going to get onto some of the agent selects and map drafts and all that good stuff. We'll be back shortly here at Game Changers SCA 2024. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back, everyone, to the 2024 Valorant Game Changers SEA Stage 1 Finals, baby. It is time. We are almost ready. Got a little bit more of analysis to do. We got some map bans and vetoes to go through, then some agent selects. But I'm Paperthin, along with Zach here to break it all down, get it ready for this exciting conclusion to the Stage 1 phase of things. And I'm really interested to see how this is going to go in the rematch. Obviously, a lot of times teams come into the winners finals, and if it's the same team they played that makes it back to face them again, the best of 5, they lose. How do you think Boba's going to fare this second time around?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just the VCT Pacific curse kicking in at this point. But, second time around or third time around, if you count the group stage, I think that, well, like you said, they are a little bit of the underdog here, but they're having steady improvements, not in terms of the scoreline, but just in terms of the gameplay that we saw, compared to the first game and the second game, or rather the first map and the second map when we saw their game in the upper bracket. They looked a little bit more put together and stuff. And I think that for Boba, it's gonna be pretty important how this map veto shakes out because of how we talked about XIPTO's map pool is deeper. That said, like we were talking about individually, there is no fault to be found with any of these players. I'll start off with their duelist duo, right? You have Ayumi and Aluka. Arguably, Ayumi has been one of the most cracked duelists in SEA since day one of Game Changers, and Aluka as well, who used to play only that Reyna, who came back, played a smokes for a little bit when she was on Alter Ego, and of course now shifting over to that initiator flex duelist role. I think that her aim is one of the strongest things about her, and she and Ayumi also have really good synergy together in a lot of these rounds, so that could be a really good foundation to base it off of here. Kohaibi, of course, Team IGL, needs no introduction. And she's moved over as well to the Sova as the initiator role, so she's been pretty interesting to watch. Casper, of course, a mainstay of smokes, my favorite Astra player ever, I must say, and I do hope we get to see some of her Astra today. But she's also very clutch in a lot of these situations with that controller. So I think individually all of these players, they are just, and we already talked about Baby TZ, of course, so individually all of these players, they're just so strong in their own right. I just feel like they have to be able to cook something together because that's what XIPTO does the best.
Yeah, definitely the firepower here for both teams, really impressive. Boba to get here, really showcasing their abilities to even get to this rematch versus XIPTO, who has just been unstoppable so far. And now let's look at our initiators here. We have Kamiyu versus Aluka, both having a lot of impact, not always necessarily in the KDA department, which both players still putting up very good KDAs, but these are the players who are really setting up the rest of the team for success, really making sure that those executes are looking clean.
For sure. I mean, for the side of XIPTO, Kamiyu, that Sunset game where she picks up the KO is just terrifying. Kamiyu is the Terminator on steroids. That's how it felt. 1v4s, no problem. No command every couple rounds, no problem. Really impactful 0 points as well to take care of the opponent utility, just shutting down the retake before it can really commence. So her timings have been absolutely incredible. And 200 ACS on a KO, it's great to watch, but on the opposite side, Aluka as well, I feel like her breach fault lines and flashes have just been creating so much pressure. So I think that she's, in terms of just utility usage, both of these initiators have been great at setting up their duelists. And we're looking at one of them right now, Alexi on Raze. Okay.
Those are absolutely bananas numbers that she's put up. Those ACSs are through the roof. She is just absolutely cracked on the Raze and other duelists. What a phenomenal player she has been. She's so clean. She's so good at the entries. Obviously, the coordination of XIPTO is a big part of it, but the individual talent as well, really carrying over for her.
Yeah, Alexi, I think one of my favorite players. Was in that IGL rollout Brand, and I think a lot of these players on that XIPTO roster have at some point had that IGLing experience as well, which really helps them in their communications from what we heard from them last year. Alexi, of course, started off as a little bit more of a flex player, but now Raze is her main duelist, so on the maps that XIPTO do like to put that Raze through, she's the one who is called up to bat, so as to speak. But for Boba, it's Ayumi who is on the opposite side. Alexi more of a flex player, I would say, but Ayumi is a dedicated duelist. Whether it's the Jet or whether it's the Raze, it's like she's made it an art to study how exactly you can mess up your enemies most, and she thrives at it. I don't think I've ever seen her have a really bad game, so as to say.
No, I mean she's really, really strong. Like obviously sometimes when she runs into XIPTO, it's been a little bit more difficult for her, but otherwise she's been really, really good. Blade storms are excellent. I think her blast pack movement in particular was really impressing me. The coordination as well with the timing of the blast pack with the rest of the utility from her team looked really impressive. So I think, again, you can't help but like really be really thrilled with what you're seeing from BOBA so far. They're able to take space. A big part of that is Ayumi, right? Like she's the one that we've been really, she's the one who really pushes the team forward with that ability, right? So really exciting to see that. So, but I want to talk a little bit more here as we start to kind of think about how this is all going to play out. We've been talking a lot about XIPTO's map pool, how strong it is. What is this going to look like here for BOBA? Like what's maybe best case scenario for them?
I mean, going through the map pool, I think that BOBA also do have like a couple of strong maps here, and I think two of those maps in particular are that Lotus and that Sunset. So I think if we see those, they're strong for both these teams. So I think these are the maps where BOBA could definitely like push through and take them away, no matter who picks it. I'm gonna be interested to see what exactly XIPTO is gonna be batting, because they don't really have a weak map, because they've been like winning every single map that they played. So I'm gonna be curious what they're gonna do with the double ban that they have. But for BOBA, a best case scenario would be to get these maps that they're comfortable on into play. Whether it's that Sunset that they've only really lost to XIPTO, whether it's that Lotus where they were able to put a team that found a 13-0 in the lower round of playoffs, put them to sleep at a 2-0. So I think these are maps that could be really strong for them.
All right.
Oh, there we go.
We got it on screen. The bans are Breeze and Split. I was kind of curious about XIPTO. They've been pretty willing to sort of change their ban depending on their opponent. But these are two maps that they have banned previously, so not super surprising to see Breeze and Split gone. And then we go to Bind first. So overall, you look at this map draft, Sunset, Icebox, Lotus, and then a decider if we get to that fifth match, which everybody wants, is Ascent. But how does this shake out for you?
Honestly speaking, I think it's pretty strong for both of these teams. XIPTO, of course, used that advantage well, because I remember Split was a map that they definitely got pushed on a lot by BOBA. I think it was 9-13 when they played them both times, so I think it's a map that they definitely are strong on, and they have they have the read on XIPTO from the past few times they played, so taking it out makes complete sense. I'm a little bit surprised about this Breeze pick. I think it's just because XIPTO haven't really played it as much, and BOBA hasn't played it at all, so maybe they're just worried about a wildcard coming in, because everything else is just such familiar territory for both of these teams. So I think the map veto, BOBA did the best they could. They picked their two strongest maps in that Sunset and that Lotus, so they have that coming in. And the nice thing for them is they're no slouch at any of these other maps either. Like we've seen their Bind before, it's been very, very strong. I think Icebox as well is a little bit of a question mark for me, but I think they were able to find a win on that one as well, so it could definitely go either way. I think all five of these maps are good for both of these teams, no matter how you look at it. But that said, I think the real thing that stands out to me is this Icebox pick, because XIPTO is just stronger on it, even though we haven't seen them play it as much.
Yeah, it is going to be really interesting when we get to that Icebox. That's the one that I think has some of the bigger question marks around it for both teams in some ways. So really excited for that second map. Get to see it no matter what. So I'm really excited about that. I love Bind, one of my favorite maps, just period right now in the map. But we don't have Fracture anymore, which is my actual favorite map, but that's okay. It'll come back someday. But really, I'm kind of curious. Yeah, hopefully. I really want to know here for BOBA. I know we're talking a lot about them. I think XIPTO gets plenty of love and well-deserved, and we can talk about how good they all are all day, but there was something real quick before we get into the agent select that I thought was really interesting. Well, actually, okay, never mind, we're going to get into agent select. Maybe this question will come up later, but I want to see what they're going to be bringing here into Bind for both of these teams. Are we going to see any change-ups? I mean, BOBA's been pretty stock standard with what they play, but maybe some changes here coming. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, so far it doesn't seem like neither side is cooking too much. Goibi going back to her Sentinel roots here on that Cypher. Yumi, Raze expected. Casper has made a little bit of a shift here to that Viper. I think that usually we see her playing on that Brimstone, so a little bit of adaptation from BOBA that they've gone for that double controller here, which I think could be very, very strong in terms of denial, because not only do they have that Pseudo Sentinel and Viper, they also have the Cypher itself, so there's no KO or any other agent that can really shut this down very effectively. Like, of course, you can satchel through it, you can try to use your ults to make your way through it, but this double Sentinel, I'm gonna call Viper a Sentinel here because that's what she is on Bind. It could be really annoying for BOBA to get through. Oh, sorry, XIPTO to get through.
No doubt. I mean, really, Viper, for all intents and purposes, is actually a Sentinel, so I fully agree with you there. But it is kind of interesting. I mean, in general, XIPTO, doesn't use a traditional sentinel off like as much as some other teams. Like in their last matchup, XIPTO didn't use a sentinel at all on both Sunset and Ascent. So this is kind of in XIPTO's wheelhouse. They sort of like to have this style where they rely more on their comms and their ability to out-rotate you and kind of outthink you, use their really well ingrained protocols to kind of get over you, to beat you, and it's going to be really interesting to see if BOBA can find ways to pick that apart like they did against Aura Differential. What about your predictions here? We're going to have to see what everybody kind of thought coming into this. I mean, look, we all kind of have an expectation here. Yes, I picked XIPTO, but how can you not? They haven't dropped a map. Like, how can you not pick that?
Yeah. I mean, you can have all the hopium and copium you want. And personally, I will be very happy if BOBA do win today, because Casper is like an old teammate, an old friend, and somebody who I think is a really good player. And I'm glad that she's in her. I don't even know what grand final this is for her. It's not as much as the XIPTO girls, yes, but she's definitely getting there. And I would be happy to see the underdog win. But you said it. The stats tell the story here, Paper Thin. And when a team hasn't dropped a map, when they have a perfect record, and when most of their games have been like nothing short of a stomp, I think that it's a pretty safe bet to lock in. And I mean, we're analysts, right? We gotta see the numbers.
Yeah, you gotta prove to me that you can beat the team before I'm gonna pick against you, usually. So that's kind of where I lie with that. And they've just been so clean. They're able to kind of toy around with some different agent comps and some other stuff. So I've been really impressed with them overall, obviously. So anyway, that's going to do it for us for now, as we are ready to jump into the first game of the day. It is going to be Bind here with XIPTO versus BOBA, and our casters today are going to be Tay and Tosh. Let's go. Send it on over to you guys.
Thank you very much, analyst and host. Very, very exciting. And I love the energy coming through, because that is definitely what we are going to be seeing here today. Everyone says third time's a charm, but perhaps for BOBA, the fourth?
Oh, the fourth, maybe? I mean, we're still looking for anyone or any team that would actually taint the stats here coming in from XIPTO's side. So maybe today is the day. It's the grand finals anyway here, Tash, in Valorant Game Changers Southeast Asia. And I do want to tell chat, can you please let us know who do you think will win and how many maps? And speaking of that, Tash, what about you? I mean, the analysts had predictions already, and they're going for XIPTO here. What are your thoughts?
Oh, you guys are really forcing my hand with this jinx thing.
Oh no!
I mean, I think, okay, I'm gonna go with XIPTO win, but only to test if my jinx works on XIPTO or not.
Oh, okay. I will go for BOBA then. You know what? It's a 50-50 chance. I'll take it. And BOBA, I think, can do that adjustments or certain adjustments from the previous match they played. I mean, they have Koibi, right? So,
yeah.
At the end of the day, this is the grand finals. It's a do or die between these two teams. And anyway, we're playing a best of 5. So may the best team win, right?
Yeah, may the best team win. But coming back to that interview I had with Fall yesterday, you know, I think that it really changes a lot of the perspective for what BOBA wants to achieve and how they want to overcome a lot of things. I think, you know, for him, he had sort of hinted that, you know, the biggest enemies they have are themselves, perhaps the overthinking, perhaps the non-chemistry, because they only just formed. So let's see whether or not they can slowly maneuver that today together.
Let's see that exactly like this as well, as we start off on the pistol round here. And like the panelists said also, we usually see XIPTO not using any sentinels. They go for firepower here, but it seems like they want to fight B long for the moment. But it's more of just picking off angles, especially with Shirazi waiting patiently outside showers.
That is one aggressive hold. Very good read as well, knowing that Showers might be somewhere that might be pushing out to, as Koibi holding down the back lines will have to move away. Flash already in the face, will be punished immediately from that, and no problem with that plant to come through as pistols fall in XIPTO's favor.
I mean, this is the beauty of holding B long, right? You have that ability, the opportunity to TP away once you get stuck in a position that you don't want to be in, especially after the kills coming in from Shirazi. That opened up everything completely for the side of XIPTO here to completely take over and let Wingman plant the spike while the rest fight for their lives. 1-0 as XIPTO takes the first pistol here. They're able to buy for the next round as well.
For XIPTO, Shirazi's massive hold back of showers has given a lot of values. Reading aggression very well. B long is where they're going to be throwing that Trailblazer in. Doesn't get destroyed quite yet. Does hit one person. They are going to have to give up that space onto main area. Flash comes through. They are undeterred by the smokes at all. Just exploding onto the side. Neri already getting two for herself. Moving to the backside, Alexi putting massive numbers yesterday, especially on the last map. Let's see or not if she can do it today. The wait to come through. Deeper smoke as well. As XIPTO, they do this thing where they like to do these deep smokes and just deny all this space in the favor of BOBA. And it's happened again and again, and BOBA doesn't seem to have an answer for this.
Especially when you don't have any guns at all, any rifles picked up, any value even from the kills itself. But look at this, Lexi creeping up slowly. She finds one. She knows there's going to be someone in the corner.
Oh my god!
And a good triple to close things off for round number 2. A flawless round, and she finds value as well when it comes to money.
That is really gotta give it to them. This aggressive play, because they had already used that Trailblazer to just push everyone off the site for them to disable their holds. They're able to just quickly just burst onto the site regardless of the decay, pop inside, take so much space toward the back, shoo them away from Hall's area, and then take up more of that space as well. And because their momentum's already on their side, they are very confident. It's gonna be terrifying to see how BOBA's trying to find an answer for this, because this is going to be their buy around. And Neri already with that Gecko. Tresh pushing all the way through showers.
Sees one actually on the back ends of the side, but then again they tried to push in. Furthermore, they weren't able to get Aluka here. Of course, with the help of the other teammates as well, as Camus goes down. It's a 4v1. Shirazi left alone. They know exactly where she's gonna be as well. Trailblazer confirms it. For the meantime, it's all about playing the angles here and isolating the fights.
Toxins going up.
Good hold. No movement quite yet. She can try and go for a picks. Just take away any guns if possible. But look at this. So many different angles played. The camera taken out at the very least. And I think it's best for Shirazi. Maybe looking for the flank. Maybe go for a fight. What do you think, Tay?
Not quite sure. She has a Vandal. They're playing for a bonus round anyway.
So it doesn't matter.
If she can find any value at all, like I said, she has to isolate the fights, isolate the angles.
And she
That's
does.
the first isolation she takes, but not for the second kill, as BOBA closes off to a 2-1.
Very, I would say, not a bad round for them, only losing 2 rifles in particular. And very patient as well. This time around, they aren't playing aggressive, and they're changing the way they approach things, waiting for XIPTO to go to them instead of them going to XIPTO and being punished very early.
I mean, the composition you have for XIPTO, right? It's that double initiator that they're playing yet again, and it gives you an advantage, especially when you have an area on it as well, putting up a flash, fighting alongside with the rest of the team. But honestly, that bonus round as well was a little bit rough. If you could see how they just entry to and run through a main here, just very dryly as well. But let's see if there's going to be some certain changes as they try to play 4 picks and play it a little bit slower. So it's also a tripwire waiting for them as well when they hop out of showers. But they destroyed this. Not towards a main though. Shirazi caught on it. No kills at all so far. Instead, they get Aluka down.
Well, they tried to, and Aluka goes down, so does Tara. Every man for himself. Gohaibi does answer back, at least for one. Does get picked. Tara's quite low here. Here's the sound of wingman planting. Just playing so slowly in those smokes. Alexi playing these corners to perfection. They haven't really figured out Gohaibi when the smokes go down. Actually, a lot sooner as well. Just flush out of the smokes. Not the
Music
best
to
round
my
for them
ears.
to be in. What's the music to your ears, little bro?
Especially when Wingman's planting, it's
What's the
music to
sound?
my ears. I mean, they pretty much didn't have a choice, right? I
Yeah.
know you're hearing Wingman plant, but at the same time, it's the last 2 remaining players from the side of BOBA. Gohaibi was able to pick up a space on that smoke, but couldn't deny the plant itself. It's really a tough place to be in, and it just wouldn't work for now. 3-1.
Toxins going up.
Economy doesn't look great for BOBA as well, but I mean, if we've seen anything since yesterday, we've seen some insane thrifty rounds for some teams. Good cross coming in from her teammates. Alexi and Aneri get one each. And this is the explosion we're seeing from a few days ago. Alexi not stopping the W key, held down, not left down at all. Aluka in this corner, but surprise! A tap. Aluka gets a nice upgrade, Vandal in hand, half HP left, but that's all that she could do. A valiant round from Boba, but XIPTO, so long as his aggressive, explosive entries are not stopped, they are just gonna keep waterfalling onto the site.
And XIPTO so far had good reads whenever they try to position themselves, especially once they clear out angles they need to clear here. And really patiently waiting for smoke to dissipate. And always, there would be someone inside that smoke. We've seen it a while ago with Kohaibi waiting patiently inside it. Aluka, after picking up a Vandal. The expectations here of XIPTO, each and every time, Boba seems to fill. But again, a trash available for the next... after somewhat, like 1 to 2 rounds, they have the trash again.
Yeah, they've been farming those orbs at fresh, and it gives them so much space and value. Lexi, showstopper. Mohaibi goes down, and so does Ayumi. You hear the orbital strike just clearing everyone from inside of showers. So much space taken away. Only 2 members left from Boba. It's going to be a hard retake for them. Maybe TZ as well, as her teammate Casper, are just so isolated. They aren't played together. Just waiting for time. Perhaps waiting for the smokes might be the way to play. Casper has no clue where to look, and it's just so sharp when it comes to shooting as well for XIPTO. They know exactly where baby TZ is. They've been marking it. The utility dump is in there. She's staying safe in that corner. Hasn't moved quite yet, but as soon as the picks come out, Shirazi just clears it, and 5 rounds in XIPTO's hands.
They're reading it pretty much like a book. Like, it's the palm of their hands here for the side of XIPTO. Each and every angle covered as well. Every time they want to take side here, again, it's the firepower that Alexi is bringing to the table. But aside from that, the space especially that the trash gives and allows, at least for the time being, for XIPTO to really control showers here completely as well. It just allows everyone to entry onto the site and really bamboozle everyone as well, preparing to defend the site itself. Now with the timeout coming in from Boba, certain adjustment has to be made here, especially Eco's not going great so far. They haven't pretty much got any pickoffs as well that they want to take. So what do you think about this, Dash?
Personally, maybe Boba should... It's really hard to play against a very explosive team like XIPTO. It's very hard. I'm trying to think right now, like, what is the answer they can do?
Every other round, they have a certain ultimate available.
They do. They are just farming it, especially with the Thrash, with the Trailblazer, just moving them away from site. The only thing I can think of right now is perhaps just giving them the site and going for retakes 4 or 5. But even that is so hard, because when we talk about utility usage, Boba is, I wouldn't say that they're awful at it, but it's more about XIPTO being so aggressive, and whenever they jump in the site, they're just so sharp when it comes to those headshots. It's hard to react when your heads are just getting popped.
That's definitely true. I mean, it's a shooter game, right? You pop heads, you maybe win the game, and the rest, you can use your utilities to play around it, outsmart the rest of your opponents. But let's see what kind of adjustments will Boba make, especially here on the Eco. They do have a showstopper, but I'm not quite sure they're going to use that yet for this round. Unless they find a few pickoffs. But as the wall comes up, they check on Ayumi. Cutting off the angle, actually, from the right side. Oh, no.
That angle cut is just definitely not helping Ayumi at all. She can't even move. No teammates at all to really help her out. Alexi nearly goes down. Taps come through. Kohaibi sharp with that. Trades out with an Airy. Casper all on her lonesome in this flank, but quickly eliminated by Alexi. She's just so aggressive with the good reads all around. Neri, flash. Maybe TZ will move away. She isn't flash. Flashes back. Both of them just play the game of wait. And Tara alongside Shirazi is so aggressive. No breathing room, given at all to the members of Boba.
Not a single space. You see how they played the wall of the Viper here. And just isolating the angle that they're holding. They were holding exactly a crossfire on this A short, but it just wouldn't work, especially if you have that kind of timing coming in from XIPTO here. And so far, again, having that double smoke as well allows you to really take up space, crawl up, and not be able to be seen by any of your opponents as well.
Definitely a tough one, but this time around, change in pace for XIPTO. Possibly understanding that changing this pace might just throw BOBA a little off because there was that timeout just now. It's also their buy round.
Like you said, maybe that play for a retake will work. Because, I mean, they do have big utilities here in Neural Depth and a showstopper. But other than that, Lexi is going to hunt them down anyway. A good trade coming in from Ineri there. It's a 4v3, Tash.
Yeah, it was a miscom there. The double swing not working out quite in their favor. 3 members of XIPTO were just staring them in the face to Octagon. Kohaibi playing halls very well. Holding this very close corner. Eliminates Tara. Shirazi is still holding, but here comes Ayumi with the showstopper. Shirazi running for her life. Taken out once again. Neri, on the other hand, will find Casper on her own. The thrash to come through. Clears out the corner angle. Only one person held. Camille answering. And Ayumi all alone. Nothing much she can do there. Just, I think that XIPTO plays all these crossfires to perfection.
I know, and each and every single time you expect like, oh, okay, we have an upper hand here, but the trash is yet again available. Good for the trades as well, and when they find one kill off, especially Camus taking up that last kill or final kill before Ayumi goes down, it was a done deal at that point. They close off to a 7-1, and XIPTO seems to be not shy to really use up all their utils here to clear out space.
I mean, I think this was mentioned in the pre-show. The cycling of the ultimates and the utilities. They're not holding back. Alexi already taking out that camera, knowing one playing close will move back quite yet and thinking, okay, perhaps another entry should be taken. Perhaps a rehit? Might be that. As they move further and further away. But as BOBA keeps using those utilities to buy time, XIPTO's explosive plays will not be deterred as they run off utility as time runs out.
A push and a pull. That's what they're doing right now. Stara moves away slowly. The Trailblazer spots no one actually on showers. This still gives info for the side of BOBA that it's probably no one on A. It might be a B side take instead. They do have a wall set up here, but so far it seems like XIPTO is ready to just disrespect walls here and there anyway.
Yeah, and they do flush at the middle area with the orbital strike as well. Maybe TZ. Shots not landing quite yet. Camille, however, does find Casper in the midst of that chaos. You know where exactly maybe TZ is. One each. Making for that. Clearing the entirety angle of the backside all alone. Ayumi now all alone. Playing this low angle, but look at that flick from Shirazi. She's quick on that. XIPTO with 8 and BOBA not managing to find an answer quite yet.
I mean, there's a reason why they picked this map, right? It seems like they've perfected it already. I mean, they're not scared to take fights at all. They're really like just pushing onto the side. Doesn't matter if there's a wall coming in from Casper. Perhaps we can use the orbital strike to clear out CT anyway. And exactly like that, they're able to really punish this choke point holds that BOBA is trying to really hold down to. But unfortunate for them, it seems like XIPTO really has that perfect read.
Really do, and you can see that baby TZ and Casper are not having good games. Luca immediately eliminated.
Oh no.
Not to worry about this. Kohaibi can't move anywhere, stuck in that corner. Taken out eventually. Alexi already with another showstopper, clearing the entirety of the side. But look at the flank. 2 coming in from the back.
Will it be successful though? That's the question. Especially Casper needs to make this kill happen or else they're gonna get stuck on a short. Baby TZ, good for 1 though. Still a 2v4 scenario here. Lots of ultimates, but it's not really that kind of an option, an open option for them so far. Casper takes down 1, making it a little bit more even. But Baby TZ to really push out with the Seekers here alone. But it's not gonna happen here, Tash.
That's honestly unlucky. While Casper and Baby TZ did manage to find their first kills of this particular map, It's just a situation where XIPTO is just so quick. Not only are they quick onto the site, they're quick onto that post-plant positioning as well. They have so many angles and crossfires done, it's hard to play onto the site when you don't have a 5. And that's the best thing about XIPTO. They know how exactly to isolate fights and dwindle the numbers one by one, so you don't have that numbers advantage against them.
Not at all. Not a single time as well so far from the rounds that we've seen. And like I said, it's not that difficult for XIPTO to really farm orbs here, because so far they've been getting all the kills and getting all the orbs. To check on the right side is going to be Baby TZ. 14 bullets remaining onto her Stinger. Not at all at this point. This time she has to pull out the handgun, but it's not just going to work just yet. 5v3.
Quick movement to the backside. We've seen this happen so many times. XIPTO doesn't have to do any adjustments. No plan B, plan C. And Mary playing this halt area, but Ayumi with 2 taps onto 2 players eventually does get taken down. Ayumi answers back. 3 in her pocket. Can she show us perhaps an ace with a sheriff that Aneri did in Sunset just a few days ago? They know exactly they are. It's already been marked. Nades to clear out the back of sight. Lexi swing out! Beautifully played. Wide swing with her teammate. With her teammate just baiting. And that's it. 10 already in the bag.
It's crazy to see the aggression that XIPTO has. And as soon as you have a 2v2 situation where you definitely know that Ayumi's heating up, especially picking up a gun as well. For the last 2 remaining players, you see they go back to the disciplined play where they just want to hold the choke points here. They have the plan set in place already, and it's just a matter of the post-plan situation and having a good cross and even a good position to get a trade, actually. So with that, it's a very, very clean round. A trash yet again being pushed up towards B long. Doesn't catch Baby TZ. Does it? It does. And they're happy to take that kill, even with a tripwire.
Oh man, Baby TZ couldn't do anything. The tripwire was not eliminated as well. Kamiyu on the backside plays that smokes. Alexi with that pain shell, finding Kohibi. And she's just so sharp with this. Could this be an ace for her? Showstopper finds no one. You can see the baits come through from XIPTO, just trying to find the final member.
Oh, they're gonna give the ace.
They're just gonna give the ace perhaps? Yes, they do. Ayumi good for 2, but no more than that as Alexi with her own ace this round on point number 11.
Beautiful Valorant right here, ladies and gents. I mean, Alexi is at 21 kills, 4 deaths, 2 assists, but nonetheless, having impact towards that entry is very important. It doesn't matter if there was tripwires. There were tripwires everywhere.
That was a tap through the smokes, Eliza.
Exactly. The second kill itself was just basically a pre-fire towards CT side, and they still get caught. I mean, this is a crazy game that we're looking at, but to break things down, we do have the paddleless paper thin. Zach, what do you think about this match?
Well, so far, it has been an absolutely dominant performance from XIPTO. The first time we're getting to see them in 2024 on the bind. And Zach, they look absolutely unstoppable. I mean, so many great things going on there. The casters are doing such a good job of catching all the important moments. But the one thing I think we really want to highlight is the way they cycle their ults. It's so incredible.
It's insane. Like, Aneri had 5 thrashes in that half, and that's not, I mean, of course, the Gecko ult is a little bit easier to farm, but it seemed like every single round there was one ultimate or the other that could power them through, and it's not like they were just farming the ult orbs, you know? They were getting them off of these impact kills, and I mean, you saw it in, like, I think the second last round there, round number 10, where Alexi was one off the showstopper. She could have tried to go for Shower's control, get the orb. Instead, they just go for the swing. They know that their opponents, BOBA, are probably going to fight them for that orb control, so they take the initiative, they go ahead, and I think this was like a theme that repeated throughout the map here. Like, yeah, XIPTO, they had an ultimate to work with, but most of the time they were just swinging. They were taking these contact fights, and every single time it seemed like they were just able to win out their confrontations. Like, I think Tash and Taya highlighted it there with Alexi being just a force of nature, especially with that ace in that final round. She is not stopping.
No, it's just been absolutely insane. I think she's 21-4 right now for Alexi on that race, which is just absolutely disgusting. So let's see if XIPTO is going to make this a fast map or if BOBA can bounce back over to our casters, Tayar and Tosh Bunny.
Dang, 21-4 for Alexi. And BOBA still hasn't found the answer quite yet. Perhaps this attacking round might be in their favor. What do you think, Tay?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure. I mean, they're still playing a double smoke here, and you do have Baby TZ on an initiator role, but you know, the kind of composition that XIPTO has, they can be aggressive, they can play the push and pull as well, and it would work. But once Baby TZ, for example, puts out a Trailblazer, there's going to be someone following Ayumi here for the entry, right? So let's see if they can make that certain adjustment, especially here on their attacking. But we do see a slow play coming in.
It's definitely not as fast, it's not as aggressive as what XIPTO has. I think it's more of like not understanding or not trying to figure out where exactly the members of XIPTO are. But look at this push out all the way to a shower side. Boba does get the site, but little do they know there's someone watching the back site. Ayumi, there's a site. Not as aggressive or as dominant when it comes to taking the site. Ayumi, slowly but surely just creeping up towards CT side. Possibly hearing those footsteps. They do have some time to prepare for this retake. Neri with that flash, catches one. Ayumi and Casper goes down. Neri and Shirazi are just sharp with this. The entire members on the backside cleared. Wahaibi, good for 2, but not 3. And Boba goes down. Pistols, the second one, goes to XIPTO once again.
Honestly, it's such a hard take for Boba at that point. They were actually clueless where XIPTO is gonna come from.
Match point.
Again, they completely just take A short here. No showers control or no lurk at all. And you can see right from the start as well how XIPTO positioned themselves. There's gonna be 2 players on B long taking space. And once you see 3 people crawling up to showers like that, you know there's gonna be a TP once a fight happens, and it didn't happen. So they were cleared up to really rotate around the map and wait for that retake or that perfect retake scenario, making Boba completely clueless at that round.
Still waiting. Shirazi, aggressive angle, outlawed out Ayumi. Straight, just detained, jailed, but Wahaibi runs straight to the side right behind that Trailblazer. Learning from the best. Sprays come through from Tara, good for 1. Not more than that. She still has utility. Baby TZ playing very close. A flash to come through. No swing out quite yet, and both of them just swinging. Camille answering back as well. This is a force from the members of Boba, and they're not getting that values. 13-1 is what we're seeing for Bind in the first map in this on this best of 5.
Lexi drinking her boba tea as well. Man, this first game, I feel like Boba just couldn't find the space so far. They had a hard time adjusting as well when it comes to the play and the aggressive play that XIPTO was showing. But this is a best of 5 dash. I feel like the first games are usually those type
warm-ups.
of where let's see the heat check, you know?
Yeah, the heat check, the warm-ups. And honestly, I think that in this particular map, what can I say? XIPTO has already perfected this art of this map, understanding what exactly they needed to do without that Sentinel. But what am I to say? Because I would rather hear from Zach and Paper Thin. What do you guys think?
Well, it was a XIPTO through the tulips on Bind here as they come through and just absolutely smash map number 1. Boba going down 13-1. You know, it felt like we didn't have any breathing time there. XIPTO, the pace of play, everything, so good for them.
Yeah, from start to finish on that entire map, they were in control. And I mean, if you think about it, the only round that Boba were able to win were a round where they had a significant advantage in the form that full buy, and it still came down to a pretty close round at the end of it. So I think throughout the game, like you mentioned, there was just no chance for Boba to really take a breath here, try to figure out how they want to counter this aggression coming out of XIPTO. And I mean, 2 things. I think Boba really weren't able to find value with the Viper and Cypher combination because of how aggressive and how fast XIPTO were in their pushes, especially with Alexi just being able to satchel in your face and take you out like half the time. It's very difficult to deal with. But also, I think Boba, we were talking about this before, we touched about it a little bit during the halftime, but they weren't really able to do too much on the map because when you have a Cypher, you really want to take Spice on the opposite side to be sure to get that early information, and you just weren't really seeing Boba having the space to make any of those plays at all.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting to me because one of the things that we noticed previously, especially when they're playing Aura Differential for Boba, was that they were really good at taking space. They had a lot of really confident pushes and things like that, but it just felt like this time XIPTO had a really good read on it, that they were able to, especially on those shower pushes, really shut them down really effectively, kind of anticipated that pressure every time, and once they got showers control, that's basically a site broken open for them, on top of staggering those ults as well. So all those kind of things. But yeah, I noticed this early too, that the Cypher setups, it really felt like Boba's game plan here, especially on their defender side, was to give up space.
Yeah, I think they were trying to maybe hope that a retake would be viable here, but that's the problem. Against the team comp that XIPTO is running, there's so much post plans available. Like, forget about it. Even if you weren't like in a 5v3 half the time when you're attempting to retake or at a numbers disadvantage, apart from that, there's just so much available, especially with XIPTO getting all of these frags and charging up their ultimates. Like, I remember one round where Boba were on attack, and you could see that it was a 2v2 situation, 2v3 situation. There was actually a little bit of an advantage, a little bit of a chance for Boba to come back into this, but Inari got a kill, got the thrash again. V-Tain won. The swing from long was perfect. That 1v1, if Boba were able to win it, it could have been a bit of a it could have been a round that they could have converted, but instead, XIPTO, they just, not only do they win out most of their 1v1s, they also position themselves to take full advantage of all of the ults that they're cycling, and this mix of utility and aggression and just sheer aim, it is a combination that just seemed like Boba could not stand up against, especially on a map that is clearly something that XIPTO have been cooking for a while.
No doubt. I mean, you could just see that once XIPTO got the confidence going, and we saw it on the heat map, we're seeing it now here as well in the highlights, is that they were pushing so deep. Not only were they able to take space, they were able to like continue to snowball that into completely barricading, especially on the eco rounds. Boba, yeah, they're just insane. I mean, everything was so well done here for them. The smokes were great as well. I think that's something we really need to highlight, the way that they were having so much impact using the smokes against Boba.
Yeah, I think that in particular, a lot of these smokes that they were using, they were much deeper than the traditional ones that you see as well, which really helped Alexi take up a lot of space. And talking about Alexi, MVP for the day, kind of expected, 21 kills, almost a 5 KDA, 400 ACS. I don't know what she had for breakfast or dinner today.
Give her the 400 ACS. Come on. Like, she was insane.
Round it off, guys.
Round it up.
Round
it off. Just dominant. I mean, the way she was so good at understanding when she could blast back in and take space and do all those things. Just, you could see the protocols for XIPTO are outrageously good.
Yeah, I mean, Alexi, honestly, one of my favorite players to watch since day one, especially since she is one of those crazy flex players as well that you see so often in APAC here. So it's nice to see her locking in that raise today and being able to pop off. That was, I think there's a little bit of consolation to be taken here for Boba. This was XIPTO's pick. They didn't know what they were heading into, whether they would be facing like, 5 controllers or like some other kind of wacky comp. They had no idea what to expect because this is XIPTO. But that said, I think the next map, it is a bit more familiar territory for them. They've been able to have a very consistent record before. I think that for Sunset, actually, I think one of the only teams that they have lost to have been XIPTO. So I'm hoping that it will be a little bit stronger for that map number 2. But momentum, it has to be said, it's firmly XIPTO in the driver's seat right now.
Absolutely. They looked incredible. But look, sometimes you get blown out of a map. The only thing you can do is reset. There's no other option. And I've seen it so many times in Valorant that teams are able to bounce back after a bad map. Who knows, as we go over to Icebox next, if Boba is going to be able to do that, or if it's just going to be the XIPTO show once again. But guys, I think we need to take a short break here at Game Changers SEA Stage 1 for 2024. This is the finals. It's a best of 5. See if Boba's got what it takes. We'll be back after a short break.
Bienvenidos a Madrid. Eso no. We are here. Let's go. No confiaron, pero mira, no. Llego con los míos y la grada explota. Le di la razón al que me quiso ver bien. Lo soñé en mi habitación y ahora en primera me ven. No te hablo del avión. Vine por mi cinturón. Voy a hacer que recuerde mi nombre. No me importa cuándo ni dónde. Yo por esto la sufrí y aposté por mí como el doble. Yo no sé lo que es perder desde el 2000 y pico. Y si fallo, detrás tengo a mi equipo. No confiaron, pero mira, no. Llego con los míos y la grada explota.
And welcome back, everybody. It is Valorant Game Changers SEA 2024, the grand finals of Stage 1, a best of 5 between XIPTO and BOBA. I'm Paper Thin. Joining me, the incredible Zach. Zach, so far, a dominant map one, sure, whatever. Reset, go next. We've got Sunset, a map that has looked really good so far from BOBA. What can we expect from them?
I mean, you said it, Sunset. It's like a comfort pick for them. I think they've been very successful throughout so far in their lower bracket run after their initial loss to XIPTO. I think that both the times that they played XIPTO so far, unfortunately, they haven't been able to push it through, but they've been incredibly close games. I think the first time it was like a 9-13. The second time on stream, it was 8-13 if I'm not wrong.
8-13, yeah.
Yeah, it's been very, very close, but the games for both these teams, and I think this is their best bet at trying to get the momentum together. In terms of what we can see, I think it's like a pretty default comp here for the most part, with the exception of them bringing in Kohibi on that Sova. However, the last time that these two teams played, I feel like the Sova wasn't really able to find much value. Like, don't get me wrong, Kohibi was still popping off because she's Kohibi, but in terms of utility, I feel like the Sova is really there as a hard counter to the Cypher, and when you're like running these anti-Cypher comps that rely more on map control, more on like movement throughout the map, which is what XIPTO tends to do here, I feel like that Sova doesn't really find the value that you want to do. So I'm hoping that we'll see a little bit of an adaptation in terms of initiators, but otherwise you're just going to see the Sova breach, a Cypher of course for the anchor, and sometimes a double duelist. We did see a Phoenix once, but it's mostly just the Raze.
I mean, I think, yeah, definitely you would think with the Raze for them. On the other side of the coin, you know, XIPTO, when they played BOBA on this map previously, it was the no duelist comp, the Paper X comp that they kind of innovated with this, with the Sage in there, sort of reminiscent of, in my mind, the old school way people used to play Sage on Split. You know, where they use it to block off certain choke points, set up the ability to get decent post-plant, or, you know, post-plant scenarios for yourselves, those kind of things. So it's going to be really interesting here. Do we think that XIPTO has anything cooking here? Are they going to try something different, or are they going to stick with that no duelist comp? It seemed to work pretty well, like you were mentioning, especially without the Cypher even.
Yeah, I mean, they might change it up because there's XIPTO, but I think that comp has definitely worked out really well for them. I think that I was actually talking to Alex, interviewing him about like why they came up with that comp at Madrid, and he mentioned that it's just a really good counter to how difficult it is to get onto that B side because of the Sage wall and the kind of value that it really gives you. And you could see so many rounds that XIPTO are doing the exact same thing that Paper X tends to do. That said, it seems like they are sticking to the same comp. We have the double controller Sage, Gecko KO combination coming in, and you know, Paperton, you say we don't have a duelist, but trust me, Camille on KO on this map is basically a duelist. The way she plays it, like, trust me.
It is one of those agents that duelists can easily shift over to, whether it be that or sometimes Killjoy as well, but definitely the KO still very comfortable for tac shooter players, right? A lot of the kind of classic abilities with the flashes and the fragments and those kind of things. So absolutely. And I love the way that also, to build on something you were saying earlier with the Sage, that you can flash over that wall and really generate a lot of space and momentum momentum for your team, for XIPTO. So really looking forward to that. But on the other side, BOBA, I love their coordination on this map. I thought some of these executes they were dialing up, especially yesterday against Aura Differential, were super effective and super clean.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday against their, Ayumi in particular, right? She's able to take up so much space very quickly. So many of these times it seemed like Aura just weren't ready for that crunch that came in through market, with Ayumi putting the pressure there, as well as the rest of the squad trying to push through B. And I think in particular, BOBA have been very good at fighting for this mid in a lot of these rounds, especially in their games through that lower bracket. I don't think that they're necessarily the underdog by any means in this matchup, as long as they figure out a way to deal with the aggression that XIPTO were putting up on this map, the constant A main pressure, as well as the other factors that the comp that XIPTO is running really lets them play. I think that they will do a little bit better. But that said, record wise, you got to get out of that slump from game number 1.
Yeah, exactly. And again, no choice but to bounce back. So without further ado, we are going to send it over to our casters, Tay and Tosh, for Sunset. Take it away.
No choice but to bounce back indeed. And I think for this game number 2, where the map is picked by BOBA, maybe the story is going to be different. Terror and Tash for your casters for this grand final. Tash, you see the agent picks already. How do you feel about this game number 2? Do you think this is finally the time that BOBA can make those adjustments?
That's hard to say because, again, 4th time is supposed to be the charm, at least for BOBA. The last time they went against XIPTO, it wasn't really a big lead. It was like a 5-point deficit. The last time they played was a few days ago. 13-8 was the score. And I think we both know since the SMG days how Fall can be with the agent comps, agent picks. I have full faith that he would have done his homework to see what adjustments that he needs to do to make things a little bit more easier for the players to play around XIPTO's aggressive comp play.
I mean, it's the W Gaming, but on the game changer side of things, right? And again, when you have this kind of compositions that even if you have a Viper, even if you have a Sentinel like a Cypher, it feels like it still doesn't stop that kind of aggression that XIPTO brings to the table. And hopefully for this time around, I've seen a lot of opportunities to kill coming in from BOBA since game number 1. And if they can close down those kills, I feel like they could really make this close and even make it to game number 2.
Let's see if that happens. Mid has always been a priority for this particular map. The spams come through. Just to clear out that area of market as Aluka still holding a line, trying to punish anyone who were to just step out of their zones. Knife out as well, immediately demolished. So the players of XIPTO taking a little bit of a backseat instead of playing aggressive this time, just to really get a feel on how exactly this cup will be played by the members of BOBA. Nary this time, play aggressive. Oh, she is actually wanting to chase and still playing the game of funneling the orbs into Mr. Thresh.
I mean, expect for round 3, she's probably gonna have that trash ready already, right? But
yeah.
I do love that both teams here are trying to cancel out each other's utilities to take at least a little bit of an info towards them. Stun,
that's
not
aggressive.
connecting to anyone. They're just all moving away, giving them the space, allowing them to take up. A side is now planted for the spike.
And now it's just a matter of trying to figure out how exactly they want to play this retake. Kohaibi playing this corner to perfection. Buy some time. But a double swing. BOBA taking 2 for 1. Good value. Camille answers back. Good for 2. Raw aim in her hands. Camille has been going big 2 days ago, and she's still going big today.
I mean, Zach mentioned it already. Camus on the KO. They don't have a duelist comp right here, but the way that they play out these agents to their advantages as well, to their really aggressive playstyle, still works out in their favor. Again, they played cleanly for that retake scenario, especially the spec-offs coming in from Camus. The trades are just phenomenal for this team so far.
It almost looked scary in the beginning. Just now when we looked, like it looked as though XIPTO didn't have an answer, but as soon as they got onto that site and as soon as that information has been relayed, it was almost flawless the way they moved, the way they communicated.
The Outlaws on round number 2s have been deadly. Stats don't lie, but Shirazi She don't find anyone here. They're all just jumping around. They're quite aware that Shirazi is also using an outlaw over here, but towards Styles, a little bit of a damage here and there, but not yet enough to get a kill.
Tiny taps, damage traits, no pickoffs. Very, very different tempo for this map compared to 2 days ago from these teams. Ayumi, the jump peak, but gonna be denied the util, but the side of the area, Decay to come through as well. Shirazi good for one. Does get flashed out of an area, but all she has to do is just play with that flash and just spray up everything. Quick one, slow start, but quick ending.
I mean, the timing when it comes to the snake bite as well. Kohaibi already stepped out of the site at this point. Ayumi was still quite aware and trying to bait out any other utilities. But then if you have a teammate die off like that, you have to follow up. And that's exactly what BOBA did. Unfortunately, a lot of the players were vulnerable actually by the snake bite itself, making it
They were
a
trying to
lot
force it.
easier for XIPTO to take the picks.
Yeah. Sorry, as mentioned earlier, they were trying to force that.
Yeah.
Punished. This time, Shirazi taking a little bit more of an aggressive approach.
It's a
Really
warning
tapping.
shot.
A warning shot, of course, but just to really tell them, like, you can't really be coming and pushing here. She is there. You could basically hear the cogs turning in the BOBA members' heads, trying to find that space.
The way they time their utilities as well. I mean, you've seen it from number 1, where Tara, as soon as she hears there's a boombot roaming around the map, she goes wall mid-doors here. So you definitely see that they're really holding on to choke points, and they make you think, you know, like there's some shots fired here a while ago. There must be someone close. But speaking of, Kohaibi, such a low HP, 10 to be exact.
And here comes the explosive push. Immediately cages out one area to disallow Neri to push out. Ayumi coming in, one more section to go. She doesn't check the corner. Does trade for one. Alexi quick on that. Upgrades as well. Spectre to a Vandal. Teleport to the side. Casper finds Alexi in the end. Let's get a spike. Moving away. Her smokes are slowly dissipating. Baby TZ quick on that answering back. Survives that. Not too sure how she did that. Tara, the swing. Headshots. Immaculate. Baby TZ still one more left. No Vandals, no problem. And XIPTO win the bonus.
A bunch of utilities, a bunch of smokes inside the site helps out XIPTO here to really crawl up the space and not giving any idea to BOBA where they might be. I mean, Alexi TP'd right in front of someone right there, giving the kill basically free. But nonetheless, you see them having Spectres. They would rather play up close and personal as well, and making sure that it connects perfectly to the head as well just allows them to take these kills much, much easier. They win the bonus yet again.
Very aggressive play, understanding that the gun deficiency, and does not want to let them take that space. Because as we know before this, BOBA, they like to play aggressive on these thrifty rounds. And this time around, mid already fully in Casper's hold. But the problem is the members of XIPTO are not wanting to take this utterly aggressive fights.
They have been proactive with using up any utility play they can use whenever there's info being given away. But at the same time, it's more of being proactive when it comes to the rotations and the spacing that BOBA has been taking. And once they actually know where they might be, then it's time to really take control and get those retakes in. And again, with that smoke, it gives away a little bit of an info that there's going to be a push happening anytime soon. And it seems like a little bit of damage coming in from the snake bite is hurting a little as well, but just a tad little as well.
Yeah, you can already see that just quickly water falling from halls. Just allowing Shirazi's angles. And look at these lineups just quickly on the sides. Now they do buy some time with that breach. Aftershock to come through as well. Camus swinging a good spray to come out. One each. Ayumi does get one, but what on earth was that? Everyone just spraying from two different areas. It was almost impossible for BOBA to prepare for that post plant.
I mean, you have a Dizzy coming up. You have a flash from Camus coming up as well. And then you have a nade going in on the side. So there's really a lot to cover for BOBA so far. And it's been pretty difficult trying to cover the holes that XIPTO is creating right now, especially in this gunfights that we're looking at as well. Though, to say the least, they were on an eco on that round. And with some certain adjustments, especially here on the attacking side, and we do know that BOBA loves taking space on mid, I mean, it's still very much possible here, Tash.
Sometimes you really wonder, right? Like, okay, we take space on mid. It gives us access to top mid, market, tiles. Really, that door does get broken, and Lexi moving out of the way. Nice one way to go through as well. We've seen some really bad moments happen for BOBA in that particular choke,
Yeah.
and it's quite devastating.
A lot of lineup kills, probably, even on...
Sprays.
Yeah, we've seen this from the last time. And look at this control that XIPTO is showing. It's the patience that pays off. Even with a drone, there's not really much of a follow-up because a Viper orb will come up.
Perhaps. No noise quite yet, and the members of XIPTO have no clue where to look, but Neri, her hold will be rewarded. Gets away right before that fault line comes through. Neri just repositions herself, her op, playing two different areas. Anyone who were to just peek will be punished, and the first one will be Casper. Would be another wingman to clear out those corners. Camus running straight, making a beeline onto the side itself. Null command as well. No more utility to use. Either they wait it out, but time not on their side. Halls, they do have control of that. Baby TZ, good for Tara. But is she good for Aneri? This uphold is very scary. A jump shot to come through. Camille's wings are just immaculate. Finds through two. Excuse me, as Shirazi ends the round. The beautiful off shot to Baby TZ. Again, no answer quite yet. Defense fully on the side of XIPTO.
I mean, you see it time and time again. You feel XIPTO has this kind of play where they make you feel like, okay, we finally got the operator on a choke point hold, and then you get surprised. There's gonna be another player hopping out instead. It's more of baiting them more and more into thinking where, oh, there's not gonna be anyone trading her this time around, but there would be. And Camus is ready to take on the spot, fill the shoes in, fill the holes, the gaps that can be thrown off for the side of XIPTO here. Operator in play towards mid this time. And both operators as well. And Neri Shirazi holding on to that. They find one. A snake bite to delay any possible push as well. And BOBA, a little bit stuck yet again.
Ha ha ha! Played that angle to perfection. A jump shot immediately punished. So sharp. Now Kohaibi, with only a sheriff in hand, we've seen her do some taps. She needs to get this timing right. She does get one. Tara to come through. Cage saving her life a little bit potentially. As Baby TZ to push out. Emilia Ayumi does find that one pick, but XIPTO will find two in their own stead. Camus isolating this fight. Already here, one more pick from Shirazi, quick on that scope, and immediately devastated by the thresh once again. And Neri has been proactive in not only getting these pickoffs, but also those orbs. You can't really run away. Every 2-3 rounds, you already have a thrash.
Was the last kill from Shirazi a no-scope, by the way?
It wasn't. It was a quick
It
scope.
was a quick scope. I just blink and everyone's dead at this point. For the side of XIPTO, I mean, it's already hard enough to deal with one operator in Neri's hands. Make it two. Double the trouble is what XIPTO is bringing here to the table as well. They know that BOBA has been playing slow, trying to bait out their utilities as well. So, you know, just pull out an operator, clear out the angles, and that's what they have been doing so far. It looks very clean for XIPTO. And BOBA seems to go back again to the drawing board to try and find a solution to the problem.
Honestly, it's hard because how BOBA wants to play is okay. I think from what they've done for homework, if we were to look at the last map they played, it was a very aggressive take from XIPTO, right? Just beelining onto the site so quick before they could even prepare for that post plant. And today it's a different way they play. They're not taking these early fights. And now BOBA is just confused. Like,
Yeah,
this is
why?
not how they played the other
Yeah,
day.
exactly. And to come think of as well, they play Kohibi trying to lurk around the map, giving out utilities on other parts of the sites, maybe B, some or majority of the time actually. But it allows XIPTO to really have these angles for the operator because they don't have the drone. But this time they would. Unfortunately, Kamiyu prepared for the knife. Good shutdown.
Yeah, and immediately a flash as well, follow from Neri. So you can't really run through after the utility has been taken out. Clears out these angles, Ayumi. Full control of halls is what she wants to go to. And Neri moving away. An up shot. Ooh, that's strafe potentially. Not potentially, but saved. Ayumi's life mid-side here. We have Baby TZ on that lurk.
Cage triggered.
Holding. A cage just really isolates anyone or disallow any information from the top mid area.
Interestingly enough, I don't think BOBA is also controlling orb here for the time being as well. They just move away, go to B, and look how deep the Viper orb is as well. Like, you just don't have the space to push in and think and overthink if there's gonna be someone across the sites itself. Ayumi doesn't care though, even if there's a slow, a Hunter's Fury being pulled out to give space, create that space for the take of the site, but they successfully do so. We do know XIPTO likes playing the retake scenarios.
Oh, Ayumi playing a dangerous game and will be punished. But punished by Casper for 2. Perfectly played. Plays out to the smokes, repositions herself. A revive from Terra. Beautifully done. And now numbers are equalized once again. Casper, one more smoke. A teleport on top of the area. I think they might have known. Tagging and poking as well. Playing this corner to perfection. The smokes used in their favors. And a quick spray. Aluka answers one more. A 1 versus 2. Aluka. Can she do this? We've seen it done before. She does get one. And now it's a Kamiyu. She sticks it. And she sprays. Aluka finds the answer. Finally, bringing a first point to BOBA.
Is exactly what they needed here, Tash. I mean, for Ayumi, not getting the shots in for the first one, what was important more of is to get that trade-off, to really get the kills in. Even with the rest coming up, they were more than secured to really take up fights, especially when you have that good of a trade-off. And gaining that first round for their team as well, allowing that kills to come in, the trades to come in, and securing the site itself.
Scanning ahead.
Scans. And immediately the Viper pit dropped down on B side. This is great, honestly, coming from XIPTO. Just controlling the orbs very well, just to really feed off or just allow the members of BOBA to be able to use their utility. Kamiyu buys time with the fragment. For Heidi, is she going to challenge is the question. And here comes the rolling thunder. Ayumi just blasting in onto the side. Flash by her teammates. Kamiyu, still holding down this corner. Playing these fights to perfection, isolating angles, good for 3, but that's enough damage done. Maybe TZ can't do anything left, but she can go for 1, but no more than that. A quick round, and Kamiyu is the hero in this one.
I mean, such a good flash being thrown on A side. It completely blinds Ayumi, who's entering and clearing out angles here, and allows her to really position herself here on elbow. Even with the rolling thunder set in stone towards A, no one was able to clear the back ends of the site really to get that kill on the stunned player. And again, XIPTO making this retakes happen, making the kills happen, and Kamiyu, really good hold, really good utility usage out here.
Further deep hold once again. And this time around, they're just going to try and play in this area. Immediately flash, but Neri just pressing the mouse button. Gets one for herself. Kamiyu holding through. W keying forward. Oh. Nice spray transfer. And one more. Kohibi does shut her down. Null command means that she's not going anywhere. A flash to come through. Has to give up that space, and Neri is quick for that. And gets the revive on top of that as well. 8 points in the bag, and BOBA once again left scratching their heads.
And she's still alive. She's happily to take the role of leading the charge here and pushing in. She knows she's gonna get revived. She knows Neri will get a shot, and the combination of the wingman plus the flash itself, it stunned one more player, really putting a choke point on the left, and really just, it's more of a spray down and transferring your spray. Will it connect? Will it not? And it turns out it all connects perfectly. The stars are aligning so far here, Tash.
A site will be the hit once again. Ayumi already had that fight. Isolated from her teammates, but knows that her teammates are there to back up with the utility. Slowly but surely, clearing out alley. But not gonna find anyone quite yet, but not too sure what happened there. Shirazi is quite low. Ayumi gonna be stalled a little bit for taking out this space, but 3 people already holding down the alley site. They sprayed through the slows as well. Might not try to play as aggressively. Akaluka forced back from her position. A flash, anti-flash from Kamiyu, but she's good for 1 at the very least, maybe a 2. Yes, she is. Aluka gets away with a live paranoia, but they do get stopped. And Neri, that up is almost unstoppable. Alexi, final man standing, and Ayumi good to trade her teammate. Clean one. Boba fights back.
And it seems like so far, Tash, the slow plays haven't been working, and Boba tries to realize that maybe a faster take towards side is much more easier, much more capable of really gaining advantage, especially on the trade-offs here. I mean, quick shots from Ineri, yes, they get a kill, especially for Alexi, but then up until the very end, the spike is planted, Aluka hitting the shots in as well, gaining that advantage. But it makes you think, right? Whenever you entry a site, you don't see anyone, but there's so much utilities being thrown at you. I mean, where is this slow orb coming from? Where are the flashes coming from? You just wouldn't know.
Yeah, and it's also really annoying because the one that's popping up isn't necessarily just
It's like there's no Sage here, but there's a slow orb.
Yeah, wait. Okay, I'm not sure if you remember, but there was this one particular play done by Aluka and Baby TZ. Hold that thought. Mid-side flashed. And now the pings come through. You see, market might be where they want to hit here. Alexi just waiting for time to come quick on the Aluka. Will Hybe holding back? Only good for 1. And Mary was ready to trade out her teammate. Casper playing all alone. 3 fires. None to come out. No answers quite yet. 2 already lost. They lose Alexi, but at this point, they still need to be careful because no Hybe means no info. No Aluka means less ability to aggressively take that site. You hear that teleport come through from the shadows quickly. They run through market. Kamiyu holding this angle for the top side aggressively. And with the shorty, Baby TZ and Casper, good on this holes. Nari just waiting out.
30 seconds.
These flashes and the smokes will go rushing forward. Going down. A quick, big Ferrari peak to come through as well. Playing so slowly, Baby TZ wants to try and take away this op if possible. She's all alone in 1v1 with Neri. A lot harder to play this game against an opper. Timing might be on her side. Ooh, potentially could have gone down. But she wins it, Baby TZ. Bringing us to a 3-8.
Last round in the half.
Goodness, too close for comfort, I would say. But Boba gaining back some of the momentum they're trying to look for since round number 1. And I mean, you could definitely see how XIPTO again is ready for the trade-offs here when Alexi died off. But up until the very end, this is the cons of having a double op, right? Once the dust settles in, once the spike is around the corner and everyone was able to take trades from Boba's side, you're left alone with a sniper that you really have to play close, really extremely close, against the last remaining player, which was Baby TZ. I mean, 8-3 to get 8-4 here. It's not too bad of a start. Tara, good for 1. Paranoia settles in and she still takes the kill.
All she has to do was a spray. Baby TZ playing this corner already on the site itself. Shirazi chucked down. She takes the damage from the snake bite, will be punished. With only a guardian in hand, her taps are just huge as she goes for 2. I'll look up in this corner. 1 more to go. Shirazi cleans up house. Any gun. And she makes it work.
She makes it work indeed. You remove the operator. A guardian is the next option. And a quick tap, a triple tap to your head. Everyone's dead. I mean, Tara held market wonderfully here for the rest of the team as well, not allowing Boba to get any space control towards market. And that really cleared up the space for them as well to get the kills in.
Man, as much as I would like to say that it looks so one-sided, certain rounds are just toe-to-toe. Regardless, let's see what our analysts have to say about the first half.
Thank you so much, casters. We're back here at the desk for a quick breakdown during this halftime, and a lot to talk about. Some great things for XIPTO once again. Some okay rounds for BOBA, but I think one thing I'd really like to key in on here is, you know, we've seen the depth of XIPTO, but now we're seeing that they have these awesome operators, and they can shuffle them around a bunch of different players. It's incredible what they're able to do with that double op.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, right? In Nera, you expect sure, but, you know, Shirazi randomly pulls one out, and you're like, okay, sure, the Viper has one. You know, you have a Gecko as well running it on the opposite side. But that's the thing, like you said, they keep swapping them around. One round Alexi has it, one round Shirazi has it, and it's a double operator, so you have to be really careful with how you want to take these peaks. And talking about peaks, BOBA, they had a couple of good rounds, like you said. I think that Baby TZ and Ayumi being able to close out those 1v1s at the end should give a little bit of wind back into BOBA's sails. But that said, I'm gonna be honest, you have a breach, please use him. Like, the rounds where you actually used him, you were able to take space. So many of the rounds where they actually succeeded taking site was off the back of Alucard's breach utility. And in some of those rounds in the beginning where they had like that 6-0 start, it was just a dry peaks onto a long elbow towards mid. Like, it's not really the fights that you want to take, especially when you know that there's operators against you. So I'm hoping that BOBA, they come back into this defensive side with a little bit more pizzazz. They do have the Cypher, of course. Let's see if that holds up against the aggression out of XIPTO, because I'm not sure about it yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking really difficult. It looks like XIPTO really has them on download right now, but we'll see if BOBA on their defender side can get it done here. We're going to send it back over to Tay and Tosh to finish the rest of the map.
Thank you so much, Paper Zach, as we call them nowadays. 93. I mean, we've seen game number 1, Tash. Aggression is aggression, and that's XIPTO as a team. Can BOBA stop that? Especially they do have utilities to do so.
I mean, if we were to look at stats, BOBA does do a little better on defense side.
Ready.
So let's see if this second half would be what they need exactly.
Revealing area.
Recon to start things off. Just looking for any info, any intel to at least know where some of the players are, but very typical as we look into the teams as well. They do love mid control, and so far
Wait, they pushed all the way top.
Yeah, 3 players are creeping up. They have no clue. No one's looking.
But no one's holding as well, but I think Wahhabi may have smelled the rat. Spots out that util. They already pinged there, making sure that no one is there. They move all the way back again, so it's just more of a feel in this round, and they nearly break that market door. And this is really annoying because you hear market door breaking, you're immediately going to smoke that as well. And as they finally get out to the site, they're going to run out of utility.
Makes you a little nervous, right? Like, no one's
Yeah.
come in yet, and we have no utilities anymore. That's the thing. They do have to cross the tripwire, though. Can Baby TZ answer? That's the question. The flash settling in perfectly. Paranoia towards the other players, but not
my
to Camu,
God.
who takes one shot in. Baby TZ, on the other hand, fighting for her life, stuck in a corner. Hard place. And Camu happy to shut her down. Another one, maybe.
What
As
on
3 players
earth?
go down, Aluka will be the last.
I'm good.
Wow.
What is that? I was a little bit surprised there was no one to really answer because they were stalled at Baby TZ's utility. The tripwire, the cage, but it felt like they were too hesitant to take that. And because of that, they were punished. Yes, they were able to get those picks, but Camus with those right clicks, oh my, that was disgusting. Let's be real here.
The paranoia connected to everyone aside from Camu. I mean, the stars must be aligning for you. Each and every single round, it seems like they all line up for her as well. Moving forward, they want to play aggressively here on elbow. Can they clear the corner as Kohaibi shuts down one, Camu for another, and Shirazi to clear the right or left side?
That's very quick, and you know when there is a weapon deficit, XIPTO would love to play this aggressive plays. This time around, Shirazi plays out of smokes. There's a rifle in her hands. She can go aggressive, but it might not go well in her favor if she were to go down, and she does get punished for it. Maybe TC quite low, but with Alexi playing this high angle, punishes one. Could teleport forward, perhaps. Go through? Yes, she does. Coming forward, not too sure if Catherine knows that she's there. And they do get that rifle back.
I feel like nowadays the Alexi TPs from the Omen are all just baiting out players from MOBA. I mean, yeah, Alexi makes mistakes sometimes. They TP in front of them, but at the same time, there's gonna be someone ready to take the trade. And like you said, Dash, once they know they have a good artillery here, option for them as well, they're happy to take space. And they do this often where they completely take over even up until deep A link over and over again, just to really make sure there's no one yet. And once they secure that spot, they're happy to really push it down and roll it down to get the kills.
Still waiting for up to mid. Finally, this time around, they put a tripwire there. Lexi pushing up. And this is what they love to do. It's almost very trickstery, if you ask me. They go there, they break the trips, they take out any utility, they take the orb, they bait out more smokes. And by the time they go onto site, Casper maybe has only one smoke to work with, or maybe even zero at this point. They make noise, and immediately you don't have any more of that Viper util or the toxins to come through. Tara spots out one. Ayumi playing aggressive. Ooh, nearly punished there, but she's still holding. That's tagged. Aluka playing a very dangerous game. Has to move out of the way. Plays the right side corner. Immediately the fragment comes through. They do tap one out. They spray out, not getting a pick onto Aneri at all. Ayumi playing in these shadows very well. Good pick onto Neri, gets slowed, but she's out of harm's way.
Good play on the smoke out there too as well. Really maximizing the potential of that angle. Left. And with that, we are left to a 4v5 situation. A good rotation coming in from BOBA as well as they try to prepare for the take. So far, it's an excellent read. They pick up a cam and see someone. A pre-fire to the face. They get one. Tara still alive and kicking with 48 HP. She has to plant the spike. 8 seconds remains and Shirazi happy to take the first one down. Casper very low.
Oh man, that isolate is just so good, Casper. Waiting on the side. Ayumi punished for that. And now it's Aluka all alone. Tara does go down. Takes the pain shot at the very least. This wall could be vital in Shirazi's positioning. She's just waiting for that tap, trying to pull out the information. Not too sure where Shirazi is. Little pocket for the play-in. Aluka moving out of the way, just to really bait out movement of Shirazi. The wall eventually going, and Shirazi trying to go for that half. Punished. Shirazi, so good on these clutches. Hasn't changed at all from last year all the way to now.
A well-utilized wall coming in from her as well. You could see where Aluka is looking at that point. It was just B main. And she made her think that she rotated all the way to B main after this wall came up, basically. It covers the entirety of market and allows you to reposition yourself here. And even Tara getting stuck there in a position where you don't want to be, especially in a paint chills, still managed to pick up a kill as well before she goes down.
I got you.
Managing to get the little bro back, Dizzy back, excuse me. So coming into this choke area this time around, really hoping for that punish to come through, and the problem is we're not seeing this punish coming in for the members of BOBA. Walled off the area of BOBA as well. Wow, BOBA and BOBA get confused here. Clear out those corners with the little bro. I saw the wingman to come through. A Neri for 2. Beautiful flicks on both different sides. Camille holding. You have a nice crossfire to happen as well. So if anyone were to just peek from 2 different sides, they will 100% be punished. Mosh pit as well. Just flush them out. Aluka tapping. But Camille to answer. Kohaibi. They've marked her positioning. They know where the recon is coming from. Shirazi from mid side. Tara clears out Kohaibi at the very end. Now, Ayumi playing this angle. But she might get caught out. Information at 13-3. And XIPTO makes Sunset look so good in their favor.
It's a 2-0 now for this best of 5 series. Everyone just sipping on their bobas as well. And a great showing coming in from XIPTO eSports here. It looks very... I don't know even how to say this. Like, at some point, it was clean. I mean, the utilization of all the skills coming in from the agents here, especially the flashes there, since the first half, you've seen it time and time again, punish players from MOBA completely.
personally, I think it's just really good chemistry and really
Yeah,
good
true.
communication coming in from XIPTO. Every time you see a swing, it's always a double swing. Every time you see a hold, it's always going to be a 2 different angle hold. It's because honestly, I really have to say that their time together playing for a very long time. So this is coming into year number 2 now for them, and at this point, it's just really hard. The Boba, like it or not, they need to figure out how to overcome this communication issue. Coming back to that interview with Fal. Regardless, I'm sure some more in-depth stuff can be coming through from our panel. So, Paper Zach, what do you have to say?
Well, certainly there's no more zip-toeing around it as they have taken a second map in dominant fashion. I mean, just absolutely brilliant display that they are putting on. They're so well coordinated. They're so effective in so many different ways. I don't even know where to begin because it all looks so good, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many things to highlight here that XIPTO are doing incredibly well. Like, I mean, if you look at the bonus round that they won in the second half, it was just so good. They were at a disadvantage throughout that entire round, but they were able to just really convert it off the back of these individual plays that also synergize with each other. And Shirazi's reposition towards the end, absolutely phenomenal. I think you just can't really find fault in any of these rounds with XIPTO. There are like 1 or 2 pet peeves that I have, like Eneri. Hi, I don't know if you're gonna be watching this later, but like, you know, you can swap out a gun. It's okay. You don't have to carry the operator in a 1v1. I know you're good, but you could be a little bit more dependable. But yeah, a little bit of misplays that kind of gave Boba, I would say, a round or 2. But aside from that, it just felt like XIPTO were in complete control throughout this map in terms of pacing, in terms of like what degree they had themselves in control of the map itself in space, as well as just being able to play off of each other. There was just no wrong that you could really find with them.
No doubt. I mean, you could see from the stats here on the screen that it was almost impossible for Boba to even get to their post plants. It was just such a dominant shutdown with those double ops and with some of the other things. You know, Kamiyu doing a great job on that KO. Incredible holds there on the A elbow. She's just phenomenal the way she's able to work that position, get huge multi-kills. Great cover by Eneri with the Gecko at times as well to make sure that that's unlocked. But they just couldn't even get to the post plant scenarios. And on top of that, they were perfectly clean in theirs, 4 out of 4.
Yeah, it just seemed like Boba, it was an uphill struggle for them throughout this map in a lot of ways. Like, they got off to that slow start, and they lost that bonus as well, which is like so pivotal. And while they were able to make a couple of these rounds really work out for them, off the back of like individual heroics in terms of like them just being able to get that initial advantage, keep their numbers up, and win off the back of it. I mean, if you look at it, it's 13-3. They had 3 first kills, and 3 rounds that they won. So I don't know if they necessarily correlate here, but I do feel like the rounds where they got an advantage and were able to keep track of it, it was great. I think this map also, it's very interesting here because XIPTO is a team that does like to go in for that mid pushes a lot. We saw that in the previous series against Boba, but this time around they completely changed their playstyle, just opting to anchor down these sites and put their forces there, and it played out like a treat because Boba, they were respecting that mid. I feel like, you know, we talk about conditioning done during like a map, but I feel like this is like conditioning done over like 2 series at this point where, you know, you expect XIPTO to go for mid, but instead it's just like side control that they're prioritizing here this time around, and it paid off in spades.
Yeah, and the one round they went mid, it was more of a fake than anything on the pistol, and the pistols, by the way, looking great for XIPTO. 4-0 so far on those pistol rounds, not ceding a single one over to Boba just yet. And I mean, these highlights are just absolutely insane. So many huge multi-kills. Tara, that play she had on that post plant, that one round was absolutely insane, Zach. The way she handled herself in that tough situation.
Yeah, for sure. Like, being able to find a kill despite a paint shells being lobbed in your face, no way for you to escape. You're like, all right, if I'm going down, I'm taking you down with me. And Shirazi is just in perfect position to win out that 1v1. But you know, that clutch that we just saw in that bonus as well from Tara. Well, not a clutch this time. The 2k from the Spectre. She did the exact same thing against Boba. The last time these two teams played on this map, except it was a 1v2 clutch with the Spectre from the same spot that she found. So just a lot of mirrors here in history. And unfortunately, it seems like for Boba, they haven't really been able to keep up with the kind of tactics that XIPTO were playing here. Like you mentioned, Eneri's support in all of these rounds here were great. Getting that initial frag with the operator, I really like that she was picking up the Dizzy and the other utility, like the Wingman, but mostly the Dizzy as much as she can, because that's just, think about it, it's an infinite flash, and you really want to find the most use you can out of it, and Eneri was doing great with it.
Yeah, if you can't have the sky, Gecko is a good choice to get those flashes really rolling for your team. So the way Anari's been playing it the whole day so far has been absolutely amazing. Shirazi there doing a wonderful job with her patience in that post plant. Really just completely confusing Aluka as to her positioning. And Kamayu certainly with this KO performance, the 374 ACS, huge frags all across the board. The headshot percentage through the roof, just dominant on the KO.
Yeah, I think last year as well, Kamiyu and Shirazi both had some of the most crazy headshot percentages you would see on maps. Like, they're just so consistent. And I mean, in this map as well, like Shirazi was able to pull a 3K with the Guardian, but Kamiyu, like the real star, we were talking about it before we went to the game here. Like, we don't have to worry about XIPTO not having a duelist because Kamiyu is a duelist, and that's exactly how she played. It was the 4K to start off with the pistol, like the multi-frags that she was able to just pull off. And I think the one round that I was really impressed by was her running it down with the null command, knowing that it was an eco round, knowing that without the utility, without these swing ultimates, the opponents are completely shut down, and the backup, that kind of pinch play in that elbow of A side by Anari and Kamiyu, well, I think that's the main reason we're kind of seeing the sunset for BOBA on sunset here, because it's 2-0 right now, and they're gonna have to really bring everything they have into this on this map number 3, which is, by the way, drumroll, XIPTO's pick.
I mean, it is going to be really interesting. This time for real, it's Icebox. I got my wires a little crossed in the previous throw, but for real, Icebox coming up next. Really interesting to see what agents are going to come out. You guys definitely don't want to miss this. Who knows? Maybe it's XIPTO running away with it. Maybe BOBA can finally find their footing. We'll see. We'll be right back here, guys, at Valorant Game Changers SEA 2024. It's the grand finals. Don't go anywhere.
No confiaron, pero mira, no. Llego con los míos y la grada explota. No confiaron, pero mira, no.
We're back. It's Game Changers. It's SEA. It's 2024, and it's the finals. But so far, it has been very one-sided for XIPTO. They're up 2-0. Both maps have been devastating. They just defeated their opponent's BOBA on their pick of Sunset. Things looking dire here for BOBA. I'm Paper Thin. This is Zach. And Zach, we go over to Icebox next. This is a map that's we haven't seen a lot from either team so far this year, right? Only twice, I think, for XIPTO and once for BOBA. So it's going to be really interesting to see. I mean, BOBA ran a really weird comp when this was played for them the one time, but really XIPTO's, I mean, they've been dominating the whole way through this event, but I'm curious to see what, frankly, the agent select is going to look like. That's like the biggest question on my mind.
I mean, I'm hoping that we see a little bit of changes coming through, at least for Boba's side, because so far, whatever they've been really able to do hasn't been working out. And I feel like it's just a confidence thing. I mean, when you're 2 maps down in such devastating fashion, it can be hard to jump back into it. But this is where they really have to dig deep. You know, you talked about agents here. For Boba, they've got some wacky stuff to the table before. Let's just say what it is. They had a deadlock in a chamber during one of the open qualifier rounds, if I'm looking at it correctly. And they had a harbor and chamber as well. So instead of a Viper, by the way, just harbor, not about Hyper Harbor Viper. So they've definitely been pulling out some weird stuff on this map. And for XIPTO, they did actually play this map on stream in that upper final, if I'm not wrong. And they had like a very double initiator, very standard comp. I think you just replaced the Sage. The Sova with the Gecko and a Sage, or whatever other thing you run in the Sage slot with the Chaos, so double initiator. But what was interesting to me is that they found a way to get rid of the Sova, and they did it in such a way that was super efficient. And personally, I feel like Sova, despite him being a mainstay on Icebox, has kind of outstayed his welcome at this point. He could do better.
Yeah, I agree in some ways. I mean, I think it's still very viable for sure to run a Sova, no doubt about it. But I think a lot of these teams are really liking this ability to stagger the flashes on Icebox. Use that Dizzy, use that KO. Like you have, especially on the A site, you have so many opportunities with the verticality to use those Gecko Dizzies to get above, get info as well onto where players are playing. So it's a little more contact heavy with this lineup than it would be necessarily with a Sova in terms of getting information. But still, it's just as effective in some ways. It even gives you a little bit of depth. It gives you the ability to plant on B with the wingman. So a lot of things like that, I think, really why a lot of teams are leaning into either this comp or something very, very similar.
Yeah, I think the Gecko really brings a lot of value to Icebox, because the biggest reason why all of us would pick that Sage was mainly because there's no other way to plant that spike on B. I mean, the Harbor Cove was a little bit helpful, but yeah, like you said, Wingman, the easiest solution. None of us really have to get involved. Once he starts planting that spike, all good. You know, Viper Molly elicits thrown right in the beginning. It's not gonna really shut him down. A Killjoy Molly could, yes, but again, you're just trading utility for utility, and overall, you are coming out on top. And you can even try to, like you mentioned, find so much value of it on that A side on defense, because like you said, the Dizzy, you can throw it up. It's gonna get the information from a lot of different angles because of how high it goes and the verticality aspect, and you can just pick it up again and do it every 10 seconds. So it's just really consistent, valuable information that you can keep getting. And a great point that you actually made there was how contact heavy this comp is something that fits perfectly with the playstyle of XIPTO, because so many of these times you see them going in for these contact plays, going in knowing that they can get the first entry and trade optimally, if there is a trade for all, because so many of these rounds we just saw one player getting 4 kills. That's just coming I think. But yeah, not to digress, but I think the contact play style, it's something that they are really good at, and they do quite often. So I think this team comp really ties in with that as well, if we see them pick it up.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I'm really excited if that is what they are going to run. I'm almost hesitant to talk about what Boba's gonna run because I'm not exactly sure. I mean, look, my heart wants the chamber deadlock. Like, absolutely, I want to see that. I mean, obviously, you know, there's been some experimentation both in NA and EMEA for Valorant for integrating that deadlock into the rosters, into different maps, but you know, so far with some varying levels of success. But the chamber as well, potentially coming back in. I don't know what Kohibi wants to do exactly. We don't know, but I'd like to see a chamber today. Just let's go for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, Chamber, I think Icebox is one of the maps where he's still quite strong, because there are like a lot of these angles on this B site where you can set up your rendezvous and just get a kill, pop back out, and really find a lot of value off of it. Like you mentioned, elevation as well. The rendezvous can help you get into some of those really annoying angles that somebody might not be expecting, especially if you have an operator like that box on B towards yellow, or on A side as well. There are like so many plays you can make, and that's the thing. You don't really necessarily need a jet for it. So if you are going to be running that chamber, and you're pairing it with the deadlock as well, since we're speculating here and cooking, I think that you might even think about replacing your duelist Jet with a Raze instead, because I think that's the main value of Deadlock. There are so many combinations that you can do with the stun grenade as well as the Raze, and I'm hoping that we see a little bit of pivoting in that direction. But here we go. Possible last map on the cards here.
Coach Zach cooking. I love it.
Coach Zach cooking. Yeah.
Okay, Reyna?
Okay, Reyna. Kohabi's done. Kohabi's like, put me on Reyna. Get me out of here.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much sort of a standard comp. I mean, some teams do play this, right? With the double duelist on Icebox, they'll swap in the Reyna. You know, you kind of need a breath of fresh air. If you're Boba, you need someone to pop off. And, you know, of all the players here on this team, certainly Kohabi, she's the one that you can rely on to get that Reyna really flowing.
Yeah, I think that Kohabi, it's been a little bit of a quieter day for her, I must say. But, I mean, Kohabi duelist is what we're used to seeing, Loki. At least when we started off with Game Changers, that was like kind of the role that she really filled for the team, and she's gotten a little bit more flexible. I have it from good authority from one of our casters, Tash, that Kohabi's Reyna is pretty scary, quote-unquote. So let's see if she can bring the menace to the table here, because it is do or die for XIPTO, for Boba at this point. 2 maps down on XIPTO's pick. 100% win rate for XIPTO, by the way, with their team comp that they've run so far. So it's definitely an uphill battle all this way. But this double duelist, I mean, I think they really struggled in terms of finding those entries, which we saw on Sunset as well. So maybe this double duelist is the fix that they need.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only concern I will say that I'm thinking of is dealing with those ops and things like that. But that's neither here nor there, as we are getting ready soon to head into the map very, very soon. But I mean, we'll see exactly how it looks, because Reyna so feast or famine, I don't know, and I'm so nervous right now for Boba. XIPTO just seems to have them really well on download. Whatever, it's up to them at this point. I think they could do it. All right, we're gonna send it over to our casters, guys. It's time for Tay and Tosh to bring us Icebox.
Tay and Tosh has a nice ring to it. I like it a lot.
Paper Zach
you know
too.
The Paper Zach 2 is also really good. But you know what else? I like that Reyna pick. I mean, I think the last time I've seen that pick, it was Paper X a long time ago. For that particular map, we saw a very aggressive play. So let's see what we can expect from that. I think for me personally, if you guys want to have a Reyna that can work out, the Reyna has to get those early picks, those aggressive picks, to allow her to overheal, to allow her to dismiss. We've seen some pro players all the way up in Pacific who has run Reyna and just been, you know, thrown completely irrelevant. I'm really hoping it's not that for Kohabi today.
I mean, the panel are expecting or actually hoping for a chamber, right? It's not a rendezvous this time, Paper Zach. It's a dismiss that we're going to be seeing for this. Probably a few more maps to play out. It can be the last. It can be more. But who knows? One thing's for sure, though. Boba has to win this map if they still want to stay here in the grand finals. And we are starting off with Boba on the defense, actually.
This is interesting for me personally. I think Boba, if you want to play defense side, aggression is the key. We're not seeing that quite. I mean, I guess a little bit toward A, yeah. And then they already have that nice little orb in the middle as well. Just already B side is the B line too, as all the members are already onto that long. We have one lurker, Tara, toward mid. You hear that push out from A. I think it works to crunch them there, perhaps.
I mean, we've seen XIPTO do the same during Bind, and Boba seems like they're trying to understand everything right now. Alexi all the way to Snowman, trying to look for anyone, but Baby TC is just happy to take info at least, but they're not yet done here. They want to push, they want to swing.
Oh, good for one, and Casper for one more as well. Immediately to Kitchen Ayumi, rushing through and just trying to go for those taps. Shirazi, good for that. I think she might go for a second on this one side. She gets one more for the Reyna. Kohabi finally online. Goes for that overheal just to go for a bit of a reset. Kamiyu buys a bit more time with that fragment. Kohabi goes big with 2. Kamiyu all the way in the other end gets one more, and now we're down to 1 versus 1. Kohabi, no utility left as well. Goes for that type, trying to go for that half. Kamiyu hasn't moved at all. She wants to go for that.
Oh, she knows it's on.
Realizes she's not on, but time not on her side, and Kamiyu nearly gets it. She does. Not only buys time, but also gets a pick for herself.
Oh,
Pistols won again for XIPTO.
It was just all about the timing, though. I mean, as soon as Kamiyu hops out. And this just goes to show how experience plays into the game. They know exactly when to swing out. They know exactly when the spike would probably halfway or be in half already. And that kind of timing just wins you rounds exactly like the way we saw it as well. I mean, Camus has to pin down one more player before Kohaibi anyway, and she did that wonderfully as well. Giving them the round, they have the advantage when it comes to the guns as well.
XIPTO. I mean, contrary to popular belief, everyone thinks that A would be the easier side to take, but XIPTO likes those challenges. They're so quick on taking up that space. Dash immediately used just to cross as Alexi as well as Neri. They put their eyes straight toward that snowman area. Better guns means better taps. Ayumi has to be careful. Wall up just to give them a little bit more breathing space. And here goes Wingman for that plant. Planting all the way in open. Camus eats up a bit more damage. Wingman goes down and the tap through the wall for Alexi. Beautiful tracking to go through as well. Alexi taking the spike into her own hands. Tara and Shirazi, they clean up house. Alexi didn't have to worry or bat an eyelid.
That's the thing about Icebox, right? You know that if you throw a wingman to plant a spike, probably it would be broken down to and would be eliminated at the first try. And this is why you have the wingman, to really push out the enemy players, to force them out of their position to try and peek and try to get the spike to be not planted, basically. And in that first try, you're going to be able to know exactly where the players would be for the side of BOBA. And really, you just, at that point, need to take up and lead the charge and get the kills. Another round here, but this time a buy round for BOBA as Kohaibi shuts down one. Ayumi will do another as well, clearing up 2 angles and 2 players from XIPTO.
Very aggressive defense, and this is what I wanted to see from BOBA. They get that value. Fighting fire with fire, rifles on both ends, but 2 of them eliminated from XIPTO. Waiting to buy time, and no one is overextending, no one is peeking. Understanding that they have to go on a site. Still 1 minute to go. XIPTO can just call it off if they want to, but they do still want to force this A site. Flash as well, and immediately Camus goes for one. Will be taken out by Ayumi and Luca. Shirazi, she taps, she gets 2. Making sure that no one flanks from the back. She's suspecting it. She couldn't find out where exactly Baby TZ is. Playing these corners very well. She can get 1 more pick. It would be the best round that she can get at the very least, at least for this buy round for BOBA. But time on her side. Spike is definitely with her. Chucks down a bit of damage. Baby TZ not popping up quite yet. Timing is there. Turret is there to really catch her out. Found. Baby TZ quickly rotating based on that information. She 100% hears the footsteps and quickly under tube. She's going to go straight to the site. Not worrying at all, but will be able to be chucked down. The damage has been done. Nano Swarm and taps Baby TZ at least get round 3.
A good reaction time as well, and a good placement of the turret. Just really paved the way, the round for that round coming in from BOBA, actually. But we do realize as well that for the side of BOBA here, they're playing a bit more conscious of how they are right now. They do have that value coming in from the double duelist, like you said, like you mentioned, and gaining more advantage when it comes to those kinds of scenarios. And it seems like now we know why they want to take B always and every time, because it seems to be like the position coming in from BOBA here to answer back is definitely on A. But look at this, an investment towards an operator for Alexi.
Ooh, she's aggressive with it. I think one of the few duelists I know that play op on attack is something.
Oh no.
I'm really excited to see XIPTO really embodying the W gaming brought by that particular team. Camus, watching the angles on the side as well. Anyone were to just push, and Alexi immediately finds their sentinel. Push out the site, just completely disrespecting all the utilities set down by Casper and the Viper's Pit as well to buy more time. Casper, all alone, very daring to go in and just peek that. Toxin going down as well. So you hear the plant to come through, punishes Alexi with that op. Her misposition very open from the site. Casper tapping, finds Camus as well. 30 HP left, and she's still going in for the aggression. And inside of this pit is where it gets really hard. Shirazi playing it quick, playing this corner very well. just trying to see where the bullet tracers are coming from. She plays it very safe, and Mary from one side spots on the gun barrel, reacts to Aluka, finds Ayumi as well. Time running out very slowly. Tara with only a sheriff in hand. She can go for taps. Ohaibi waiting out the mosh pit. Okay, to come through. She has a lot more time, but Shirazi comes up on top. And I have to say, this very safe style play inside of the pit for XIPTO is more terrifying than their aggressive plays.
And aside from going inside the Viper's pit, basically, you also have to clear out the Killjoy that was heavily just holding A main as well. So you really don't have a space to lurk around here. Even if 3 players are inside the pit, there's one outside ready to take on the angle if anyone wants to try to outplay the players of XIPTO. I mean, it all comes down to good positionings here so far. But XIPTO ready to take on B this time around. Alexi leading the charge with an operator too.
It's aggressive off by Alexi. It's just such a fun treat to watch. It's so aggressive, and she's so big on those opening picks. Aluka, we've seen some punishes for jump peaks all the way in Sunset just now. But this time around, it's a little bit more passive from Boba. They don't want to be punished. They go to get the information, and Neri pushes up, finds the Sentinel. Baby TZ down and out one more time. Aluka barely gets any time to peek. 2 down, 3 more to go. Casper does get that punish. Sheriff shot in hand. At least still very doable. Spike hasn't been planted yet. They're trying to take that space away. They are rewarded by a gun. Lexi, one more pick with that off. Shorty in hand, finds Casper. She's so quick at the reposition as well. How is she playing this?
I think, honestly, it all boils down to the trust that she has with her teammates. You see her leading the charge here, pushing forward. Like, if she doesn't get the kill, it doesn't really matter because Shirazi is right behind her. Yeah, exactly. There's someone who's gonna ready or who's gonna get ready to trade her off. And that's just opening a lot of opportunities for XIPTO to again take the side, especially after getting a kill coming in from Ineri here to clear out the angle. And a trash available for this round, but it would be a buy round again for Boba.
Here.
That wall does give them so much space to work with as well, but I don't think they want to disrespect quite yet. Jump peek, updraft from Neri, and this time Ayumi will be the one with that opening. Neri goes down. There goes their initiator. Kamiyu is still there though, so flash still very much available, as well as the .0 bot. But Baby TZ also taken down mid side, completely vulnerable. But she has her sights fully set toward the A site. Plant as well, this time a lot quicker than before. Tara watching the side with the angles. But here comes a null command from Kamiyu. Gonna be so hard to go in with these peaks. No abilities can be used as Gohaibi punished for the aggressive angle once again. And as this time goes, a lot of time taken away. The utility as well. 2 snake bites already used. Casper clearing out those corners, and immediately as she does that, Shirazi is quick on that trade. And Lexi will go down to Ayumi. Quick, quick scope coming through from her. Maybe TZ's just trying to find the ideal angle to work with. Shirazi playing maze. She plays it to perfection. Shirazi from below. Knives from Ayumi. Perfection for 3. Smokes come through. Fragmented by time. And Tara swings. And 5 for XIPTO. Boba unable to stop this explosive play from XIPTO.
It's like every mannerism you have as a player, it feels like XIPTO knows every angle to take. I mean, they started off for Boba again, gaining that advantage pickoff from Ayumi. She's been phenomenal on this operator for this round, but again, if you have that much utilities to play around with for the post plant itself, you have nades, you have snake bites, it just buys you so much time to really hold the post plant down, no matter what utility, no matter what gun you actually have. And that goes to show how XIPTO as a team as well, just showing that experience-wise, chemistry-wise, it's all just out there. The cards are laid out on the table. You just have to look at it.
Really, excuse me, really would like to see a moment where Boba can just find that I would say, that aggressive angle, an aggressive play that they need. But in a lot of situations as well, again, that's why I said about having that Reina is a very high risk, high reward play. And XIPTO is so adept at punishing that.
And you know what's the annoying part of it as well? Like we've seen on one round where Camus just throws a knife basically onto the back ends of the site, and it completely shuts down any walls coming in from Casper, any nano swarms that's about to be popped by Baby TZ. So they have to think of this, and then next they have to think of who's next to pick off and who's next to swing and trade. There's so much.
Speaking of much, another quick round from XIPTO. B long completely taken. No resistance. On top of that, you have the Thresh as well, clearing out Baby TZ, which means she cannot move at all. And Alexi just isolating Bridge, not letting anyone just cross through quite yet. Baby TZ finally getting her gun out, but she can't do more than that. Ayumi is good for the trade too. In fact, tapping. Impressive. Huge with that Sheriff. Shirazi does get a little bit of chip damage. Okay to give a little bit more space. Playing far back, which means that defusing is going to be so much of a problem. Oh, Hybe, you want to see that moment where she pops off with that Reina. Haven't seen it quite yet. Time ticking. They can go for that one way, but look at Alexi all the way in the back, goes for two, and Shirazi with a swing. Crossfires all around, and XIPTO knows this map like the back of their hand.
6-1 here, Tash. So far, BOBA still trying to figure out where to find the momentum here, but Ayumi definitely good on and very crisp on the shot coming in from the Sheriff here, taking down to picking up some kills here and there. But then again, it was an eco round for them. This time, the story might be different. Ayumi happily to invest on an operator again. They do have a lot of utilities or ultimates actually from Baby TZ and Casper to stop this plan.
Oh man, so much space taken already. Baby TZ finally finding the chance to just punish Alexi. The space to come out, and Ayumi! She wasn't able to get out alive. Kitchen full in their favor. They move out of the way. They give it one more time. Now BOBA are stumped. Where are they going? Are they still in Kitchen, or did they move out of the way? Things to come through. Wahaibi swings, goes big. The flash as well, punishing Baby TZ. They were trying to go in for that crunch on the tube, but that didn't really fully work on their favor as the other members of XIPTO retreat, finding their way straight onto A. They have already noticed that, okay, if we gotten 2 picks onto tube, it's likely that A would be the weaker side.
Happy to take that. That's what they say as Inari throws the wingman already. Not gonna pick the orb, actually. If ever she did that, the ultimate is up again, but in any way, they have to prepare for the retake scenario. Tara holding down mid completely, cutting off rotations as well. Inari still has a mosh to play here, Tash.
Yeah, Casper on the backside. But ooh, that flick is just huge. Finds Inari, punishes her for disrespecting the utility. Casper gonna clear out Maze. Knows exactly where Shirazi is. They didn't spot one toward the left side. This could work out so well in their favor. DK to come through. Playing inside. Pushes out on top of that. Takes out the turret. Tara pinged. Spots her out. 17 HP. Punished. Time not in their favor. Aluka going in for that save. And this time around, XIPTO gets away with it, but is now down to the wire.
And they even invested the Viper Spit on that round as well. And it felt like it's actually winnable at that point. They just had to clear the left angle. And at the same time, again, you have to deal with the post-plant scenario here. You might be getting kills here and there, but then a snakebite will follow up on you, and you're forced into a position where you really have to make the pickoffs happen or else you're gonna lose. Again, that just goes to show if you allow players to set up a really good post-plant position, then it's really, really difficult for a retake scenario, especially if your mid is also controlled.
Aggressive entry from Alexi. She just walks out, taps, finds Gohaibi, Shirazi as well. Immediately exploding on the side. She gets one more. Nest in her favor. Shirazi pushing all the way out to screens. Planted. Trying to stop those people in those rotations. Ayumi unfortunately whiffs that op shot. Maybe TZ at the very least finds that tap onto Shirazi, punishes her for taking out too much
She's
space.
still gunning for ya.
The
She has the
trash.
thrash coming through. Baby TZ running for her life. The second time this game, she gets detained. Ayumi at the very least saves her life, but not for long. Kamiyu goes for that Ayumi one more time. This time around, she's going for that save. She needs to be able to bring that up onto the next round. They don't have any money. Money on their side, immediately clearing out all the angles possible. Already, they're on a witch hunt.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be so hard to find her.
Ayumi's ready to run for it. It's a marathon for XIPTO to try and find her. Don't think there's gonna be enough time as well. But they do take a round. It's 8-1 now. Alexi with the Blade Storm available. A lockdown also available for Tara as well. And we've seen it time and time again, like Alexi taking up a bunch of space, a bunch of spots as well that you wouldn't expect her to be. And even if you have an operator, with how mechanically wise the movement of how they play as well, you just couldn't estimate where they're coming from.
Yeah, on top
Top,
of that.
down, second floor, where?
Yeah, the thrash, how many times in a row that you can be using that? And every time, Baby TZ that's caught out in it, you notice that Ayumi does try to go for that trade, try to punish when they try to push for her. That's not happening. You already see toward the top side here. Lockdown used already, but look at where
It's
the
a
spike is
fake.
going. All the way to B side. And is pulling everyone, but except for Baby TZ. She knows, and she reads it like a book. Neri, vulnerable, does take a bit of damage, but she's not stopping. Going aggressive, finds Ayumi. Baby TZ at least going in for a punish. She answers back, gets 2 in the bag. The wall gives him a little bit more space, but spike hasn't been planted quite yet.
Oh, lockdown. Set in place already for the side of BOBA. They want to make this retake happen. At least for the time being. They have the upper hand when it comes to manpower, but Kamiyu is gonna
they
fight
push.
it, and Casper to shut her down. Shirazi setting up the lineups already to cancel out the defuse, but it's not gonna hit, I think.
Oh, they get it. This is the round and is a very, very good one. BOBA fights back. I just have to say that it's just such good calls, understanding, and leaving 2 just hovering toward the middle side, which means that even though Tara was going in for that fake, they're able to quickly rotate over.
And it's such a good hold coming in from Baby TZ as well. She was able to clean up at least 2 pickoffs here, use up the lockdown, and really maximize that time that players from XIPTO are pushed back towards B main and really at least make the half defuse happen. But doesn't matter because they're gonna get the full defuse, no problem at all, as they find so much players. But look at this. Alexi, again, really aggressive on the positioning, especially she has a Blade Storm online.
Look at Shirazi's aggressive angle. She punishes Ayumi for pushing out aggressively. Lexi, she takes some space. She goes for the head, and immediately they go down. Members, 3 versus 2, very winnable for BOBA. But Spike not down quite yet. They have to go in. It's gonna be Shirazi with that plant. Tara, this high angle could give him a lot of value, and it's very rare that you're quick to check that. Aluka does, though. A double swing, but immediately Alexi and Tara were ready for that. Clean round.
Last round
9-2.
before
Can
the
we have a
switch.
9-3 at the very least before we go for that swap?
I mean, for Icebox, I've seen major comebacks in this map, Cash. I've seen even a 12-1 comeback coming in from this map. And I do feel like BOBA, they're happy to take fights more now compared to the maps that we've seen a while ago, the first 2 ones that we've seen. And they look much more comfortable in making pickoffs happen. It just so happens as well that Ayumi's positioning here is being basically run down by Shirazi over and over again. Another round that they want to take, another push that they want to make Ayumi to go down in the hands of Tara already in the dash to go in on site.
Oh, Lexi quick on that one more time. Does get punished by her other members. Are just so quick to trade back. 3, in fact, to go down. And Baby TZ left all alone. We've seen Baby TZ work these clutches, but with a judge, it's gonna be almost impossible. She goes in, a tap to go through, and Tara, she goes big. And I remembered when Tara joined on day number 1, Tara wasn't doing very well. She was carried by her teammates. But as the days go past and go through, Tara's improvements have been immaculate, and she's keeping up very well with her teammates.
It's the chemistry, right? Plus, she already played with the rest of the members as well way back before Neri, if I'm not mistaken. But 10-2, can this be a comeback? Let's ask the panelists as we throw it to Paper Zach.
XIPTO definitely feeling like Thanos at this point, inevitable that they are going to be winning this. It's 10-2 at half, and Zach, I don't even know where to begin. It's just so dominant from them. I really want to look, though. I think what's making a big difference here, you and I were talking about this, that the comp differences really seem to be having great effect with the ults and everything.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, number one, XIPTO, once again, they're really good at cycling these ults and getting them online fast. Like, that was the 4th round Viper Spit that we saw, and they use them as such important win conditions, especially, like you mentioned, because of the team comps. There is no explicit counter to that Viper Spit except for a Killjoy lockdown. It's so hard to retake, especially with the Sova utility having been nerfed to the ground all those patches ago. They don't really have any other initiators that can help in that niche, like a Thrash, for example, or something else that could step in the role of being able to clear out that Viper Spit. And you saw both rounds that Shirazi was able to get it down. They weren't even able to get close to it. I mean, at least the first time they got like a little bit of space into it, and then Shirazi shut them down. But you take my point. It's just so difficult for them to really go up against this Asian comp that their opponents are piloting here, because BOBA, they have this double duelist, yes, but that takes away from one of those initiator utility slots or other agents that you have in terms of utility. And yeah, Koibi and Ayumi, they were able to get those initial impact frags, but what happens on those rounds where you don't get that opening frag? And that's kind of what leads to this 10-2 scoreline.
Yeah, exactly. It's just been incredibly dominant. They looked so well drilled right now to XIPTO, but we're going to throw it back to our casters to see if somehow we can find a way to Lotus, but it's not looking good.
Let's see if BOBA could disprove what Paper Thin said. I don't know if you remember, Eliza, back in Full Sand Sapphire. Sorry, it was X10 Sapphire versus OGX. A 1-11 half. And we saw a major comeback. Yeah, we saw it happen before, but
yeah.
I mean, it's been a long time since we've seen a comeback since then. Kind of hoping for that as well.
I mean, we would love to see 5 maps,
I would
you
be
know,
screaming.
in this best of 5. Make use of every map, but Inari already good in the info. She's just happy to go back and maybe flash and fight.
Oh, that's very quick from BOBA. Punishing this initial aggression coming in from XIPTO. Good read to come through, especially on this round. Well, it might be a 10 round already for XIPTO, but these pistols can really give them that extra that snowball moment that they need. Ayumi already pushing out here alongside Koibi. This double duelist comp might work out in their favor, but maybe TZ already so low with only 10 HP. Playing a little bit more passive. The other members, it is a 3-on-5. But they are not taking any chances, cutting the noise and just buying enough time. The other members of XIPTO are okay to play for retakes, are okay to buy time. 44 seconds to go, here comes the wall. If XIPTO goes a bit aggressive, I would love to see a punish come through from BOBA, and this might be the hero round that Koibi needs.
They still have to plant, right? And
30 seconds
it's
left.
a 5v3. They're still a little nervous and waiting patiently as well. Who's gonna hop out? Who's gonna try to fight? It seems like one must be down, and it's now a 5v2. This allows them to actually take the space to plant the spike. With that turret, it's a 6v5 at that point.
We love
3 to
Timmy the
10.
turret.
Exactly what they needed, right, Tash?
Yeah. And then it brings them to a, perhaps a 410. 410 doesn't seem as... You know what, we're at this point, we're just doing math at this point, but let me just say that this particular was exactly needed by Koibi. You want her to come online, you want her to get these picks, you want her to be able to get these dismisses, that repositions. And now with this round, BOBA possibly needing this timeout to just take a breath and say, okay, we are in this situation where we have this gun round, this pistol, we have this gun advantage. What can we do to really snowball it forward? And I'm already seeing a rifle in baby TZ's hand.
I mean, she's been having also some pretty good rounds from the first half a while ago. Been really good at holding position as well. And if you remember on that pistol, she was also the one gaining the advantage for the team itself. So with this timeout, it's really more of conceptualizing what would be the next steps here for a comeback to happen. Or maybe sometimes, it's like a little bit of a breather, like you said. You just have to realize it's a game. You have to play. Most probably try to enjoy it as much as possible.
People forget what a video game is.
Yeah. And I feel like for players and teams who have more fun as well, they have a higher rate of success when it comes to the rounds. Washing off their nervousness,
Yes, that, and also it stops that overthinking. Sometimes you just need to just shut off your mind and just kind of go with that flow. And especially for duelists, it's something that they really need. Let the sentinels do the thinking.
Once you overthink, it's what makes you lose the rounds, right? But
Truly.
just finding the right balance can win you some. Alexi, not connecting the shots quite yet, moves further back, but this gives her a little of an info that it's Baby TZ holding down the fort on B long.
You have the outro toward A as well. So you have, if it's kind of obvious when you kind of spot the sentinel going toward one side, you can already tell that it's going to be a lurk. So you can start to see these active rotations come through, but no one's buying this bait quite yet. Still holding. At least for Tara, she's still in kitchen. Kamiyu buys time, the fragment. It has been really huge, just buying a lot of time. Immediately the taps to come out as well. Baby TZ good for one. The hold from Kamiyu and Nair is huge. Play dice, they get punished. The wall bangs as well. Aluka and Gohaibi going huge. That's exactly what they needed, these aggressive rounds. Only 2 guns taken out, but the rifle and the Guardian stay safe.
It stays safe and they can bring it on to the next round as well. And they can build up on that. They need that better foundation as we go and move forward for the rounds that we're looking at as well. And Aluka just hitting the shots perfectly with the Guardian alongside Gohaibi with the Vandal itself. 4-10. They go for a full buy now for XIPTO. Kamiyu, we've seen her play the Guardian as well as Shirazi, so can be quite punishable. Let's see if Gohaibi and Ayumi, the combination, the double, the trouble, let's see if they can find a pick-off, because Alexi's just patiently waiting on the right side.
Oh, spots her out, good for one. A lot of respect given earlier, Boba. They do get punished, but they do not push the smokes. Understanding that these taps coming through from XIPTO have been very punishing. They lose Ayumi and Alexi, so that's both jets out. But look at where the spike is, all the way near A. So they have already taken out the duelist at least. And Baby TZ slowly making her way onto site. She clears it out, but I think Aneri is already anticipating. But Boba, Baby TZ, wide swing, gets her out, and immediately calls out for her teammates and says, yep, A, completely in my hold. But Kamiyu already here. Kamiyu has been sharp on her headshots today. Not moving quite yet. Her holes to come through. Doesn't land any. Fragments just buy some time to deny that, and the blade just to really just dismiss and stop Casper, at least for that punish. 2 already down. 2 versus 2 still. Very doable. Tara, late lurk, goes big, and now it's all down to Casper. We've seen her down massive plays. Chunking it down to 1 versus 1. Buy some time. 5 bullets. Gone to 1. A reposition. A reload. A tap. But Tara to come out on top.
Almost, Dash. It was down to 1v1, but unfortunately, it's still not yet on the side of Boba here. But I want to say, they have more trades that we're looking at right now. And Baby TZ, for example, has, like I said, have been really having good rounds here and there as well. And with the shots being connected by Casper and even the lurk from Tara killing off one A main player here, up until the very end, it was more of really just playing out, feeling it out, having good reads. And XIPTO has been doing that since game number 1, even day number 1 probably.
Blocking sight.
Yeah. XIPTO. They can take a round for them, but their adjustments, especially toward the mid round, in between as well as huge. Gohaibi does find Kamiyu. Lexi with that outlaw finds a duelist. Gonna be a lot harder to get onto site without Ayumi, but we've seen it happen so many times. We TZ sometimes even becoming the entry, quote unquote, with her lurks just getting that pick and calling out for that empty site. All alone here. But look at this angle that Shirazi is playing. It's a very tiny angle. If someone were to cross, they would be punished. Oh, timing! Still on her side, thankfully. Maybe TZ goes down. Corral to come through, but the other members are already here to the side. Taps. Does take a little bit of damage onto Aluka, but no more than that. Tara, underneath tube. Full control of the area. They do swing out to find Shirazi in the end. Casper is so low. Regardless, has to be careful. Tara gonna use her utility just to really punish. But it wasn't her utility to punish. It was the taps as well. Just for taking up too much space that she had no right doing so. Still a 3 versus 2. Quick spray to the back of site. Yellow cleared. And now the last one on top of Belong. And that's it. The defuse to come out. And now we're on to match point. BOBA still very much hasn't found the momentum.
No momentum yet. But we do see they still have a little bit of a money to double down on the next rounds here. As we are already in a match point. Like you said, it was the timing from Shirazi, but then again, Baby TZ so far been really good in crawling up some spaces here and there, finding some open areas for the rest of the team to follow up on. That's why you might see her just pushing forward as well quietly. Then again, everyone from XIPTO's side is just more than prepared. You have that little wingman as well defusing the spike. Just doesn't give you the space. Lexi, on the other hand, jumps in. Too comfortable, as they say.
An overheat per se, but does get traded back by Neri. They already saw the spike. It's already been pinged out. Quickly moves out of the way. She has Thresh. She can't play it. But they're playing on this very aggressive topside angle. Shirazi punishes Aluka for that overextension. Tara playing this angle near tube to perfection. And now they crunch. No way to get the spike with those taps. Camille with just a bulldog in hand. A 3 mapper. XIPTO coming up on top. The BOBA milk to come through from the members as a celebration. Now I want BOBA.
Oh man, me too. Same. I don't know where to find some at 9 in the evening. But it seems like the players from XIPTO ESPORTS was more than prepared for this match in the grand finals. Again, are we surprised? I think we aren't. But at the same time, GG's to BOBA. I mean, this team was pretty much built on 1 week before we started here in Game Changers Stage 1, and they still managed to be in the grand finals. I can't wait to see them again on the next split.
Me too. I'm super excited to see what they build together. Fal has already told us what they're building up on, what their expectations are, and what they need to do to come up on top. Confidence is key. XIPTO definitely had that. We haven't quite seen that yet from BOBA, and I'm looking forward to see these girls just get stronger as time goes by. Regardless, a 3 mapper for XIPTO, still undefeated since their loss in Sao Paulo last year. And I'm really excited to see which team can step up to the plate to take the champions title away from them, at least for Southeast Asia.
Or when it comes to this map as well. But right now, I think we're gonna pass it on to our panelists to discuss our stat sheet here. So Paper Zach, please do take it away.
It's absolutely just a dominant performance here from XIPTO today, as they are going to be your Stage 1 Valorant Game Changers SEA champions for 2024. Absolutely amazing, top to bottom. There's so much we could talk about, so much they did well today. Just looking at the stat line as well, nearly all the players on XIPTO go positive in this final map. Zach, they're incredible. What an amazing showing.
They are indeed incredible, and you know, history is like a circle, and it just seems like we're back in the beginning, because SMG last year as well, they had a flawless run throughout that open one to lift up the trophy. I think that final was 3-0 as well, so it's pretty impressive that they're able to repeat it again this year with a new player coming in. And of course, Tara, our casters were touching up upon it on day one. You know, she wasn't able to really hold her own in terms of kills with the rest of the team. Like, don't get me wrong, her impact was still phenomenal, her clutches, her utility, all of it, but now she is up there, she is back. And for those those who remember, Tara was on the original Alter Ego roster all the way back in 2021. So to see her coming back into pro play, onto another super team, and just basically kicking ass and taking names makes me really happy. But yeah, 13-4. One thing I like about BOBA on this map is that they were a little bit more aggressive. You can see that in the first kills on both of these previous maps. I think they've really struggled with that. It was always XIPTO dominating in that aspect, but 9-8, it's so close here in that stat.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like some of the rounds that BOBA was able to find success was where they kind of got ahead of XIPTO at their point of attack. We're able to kind of shut down that utility that we highlighted in the comp difference during halftime. But still, I mean, it was just XIPTO's day. I mean, they were really on fire. Post plants nearly perfect once again. You know, BOBA had the one with the lockdown, even though it gets shut down by Tara. You know, Baby TZ doing a good job recognizing, holding her positioning, but so much map control today. That's what I really think is maybe the biggest factor here for XIPTO, was the way they were able to just really walk anywhere they wanted, do anything they wanted on all three maps.
Yeah, I mean, Icebox is a great example for that, because so many times, like, Alexi buys his operator in round number 3 or round number 4, holds onto it for 3-4 rounds, and all of those rounds, it was Alexi casually having a nice little walk, like, okay, it's a good day in Scandinavia, let me go enjoy the snow a little bit, nobody's really gonna shoot at me, and that's exactly what happens. She just walks up B long, she walks all the way up onto A site, along with the rest of the team, of course, but they make no sound, they take no contact, until there is no contact to be found, because there's nobody playing anywhere aggressive. You did see a little bit of adaptation come in a bit later. You saw the double duelist attempts at a push, and again, like you said, the rounds where they were able to find that initial advantage and play disciplined after that, I think BOBA were able to find themselves very strongly. But in terms of just map control, like you said, they were dominating, and I think that's also just because of how much synergy this team has. Like, their spacing was perfect on most of these rounds. Like, even if somebody went down initially, there was always a trade and a retrade and a retrade, and I think being able to keep themselves in that numbers game up top so often really helped. I mean, honestly speaking, most of these rounds, like, let's be honest, it was kind of like tearing through wet paper, the way they were playing it. They were just running down, finding kills, planting spike. They didn't even need to plant a spike half the rounds, like, if you look at the first map. So I don't know, I feel like XIPTO were just on fire, like you said.
Yeah, if anyone knows how thin paper is, it's me. But
yeah, I was hoping.
I wasn't sure if you did it on purpose or not. I was like, oh, I'm gonna take it if she doesn't. But no. I mean, totally agree with you on everything here. I think it's just incredible. This really, I think what you're talking about leads into the next point that I really thought helped XIPTO is the coordination. And it's not just like you so accurately described that the trades are incredible, the way they play off each other is incredible, but it's like their protocols as well, right? Like the way that they react to things is so good.
Yeah, I mean, they're that perfect mix of being able to pioneer your own way and come up with some strategies, as well as react off your opponents. I think that a lot of teams fall into one category or the other, but I think that SMG last year, as well as XIPTO this year, they have that energy where they're able to lean into either side very comfortably, and I think that they're able to just showcase that today to complete perfection. MVP Alexi, once again, this time on the Jet. No 400 ACS this time, 300, a little bit of a quieter game for her. I mean, if you can say, this is quiet for Alexi. Like, you know, you see 300 ACS on anybody else and you're like, wow, holy crap. And then you're like Alexi and you're like, oh, just another day. It's not like special that she goes above 400, yeah.
Just another grand finals for Alexi, just absolutely dominating once again. I mean, and in all three maps, somebody on XIPTO put up an over 300 ACS, so that's just absolutely crushing it, the way that they are playing right now. So yes, history does repeat itself here for XIPTO, where they're able to once again run the table, go undefeated. I'm already starting to think about the next stage here, Zach. Like, you know, we saw some great stuff from some of these teams that are going to be there. Lima, you know, obviously Aura Differential here with BOBA. They struggled in the finals, but in the match before this, they looked pretty good against XIPTO. So what's it going to take for one of these teams to really challenge this powerhouse?
I think that you just need time to work on your strat book, work on your playbook, because, I mean, we saw a couple of really nice ideas, like you said, from BOBA yesterday, and I think that today, even though, I think on Sunset in particular, there were a lot of rounds that they could have tried to do better on, especially in defense, because they had that Cypher setup, and so many of these times, you saw that the Sage Wall wasn't really being used by Tara to make their way onto site. They could have been swings off the back of it. I think Tash brought it up during the cast as well. There were so many opportunities that I felt like BOBA could have capitalized on. Like, yes, XIPTO were in control control, they weren't going aggressive, but you can counter with plays of your own, and we didn't really see that initiative being taken until this map number 3, which at that point felt way too late for them to get back into the series. But this is, like you said, just the first tournament of the year, so what I would like to see from BOBA is a little bit more in terms of like strats and executes. I think they already have like a pretty decent Sunset and Lotus like we saw yesterday, but I think that they definitely need to work on their map pool and coordination. Individually, we saw each player being able to pop off in time and get frags and everything, but it's the biggest differentiation today between these two teams was that coordination and that team play, and I think that XIPTO really just thrives in that arena.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we do have an interview ready with our winners, with our champions here of Stage 1. BOBA, we are going to see exactly who it will be coming through. I don't know yet. It's a surprise.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Aneri, hi.
Aneri.
Hi. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
So, Aneri, first of all, a dominant performance here today. How are you and the team feeling after taking another stage here in Game Changers SEA?
We're feeling very good. Like all the hard work and like night. We do like practice till night, right? So all the hard work really paid off. And everyone on the team, including our support staff, they're all very hardworking. So we just feel pretty amazing. Yeah.
Okay, and today we saw you bring in the Gecko operator, very paperwork something vibes on Sunset. So tell me a little bit about your double operator strategy. Is that something that you guys came up with, or is it just something that you started doing because you had a lot of money? Like, how did that really come into play?
To be honest, we don't really like practice double upping or anything. It's just like on the spot, like, oh, if someone wants to up, just give them the up. Because I think everyone on the team is very comfortable with upping. So like whoever wants to up, just go for it. It's not a strat, it's just like on the go. But for me, because I really like PRX something, right? So I'm playing Gecko also, so I think I took a bit of inspiration from how he plays, yeah.
No doubt. I mean, I'm a big fan too of something, so I love to see it. It was just great. You guys played it incredible. One thing I'm kind of curious about, Aneri, when I was watching today, I really felt like you guys were doing a great job of taking space and really pushing the map to its limits, like pushing the team back into their spawns and things like that. Was that sort of like an on-the-fly kind of call, or was that something you guys kind of had in your mind coming into the matches today?
Our coach and our analysts, they always remind us to make conscious decisions, right? So it's just kind of been ingrained into how we play. Like we should take spaces and everything. So we play very proactive. Like no fear, all confidence, no pressure. Yeah, that's it.
Certainly.
No fear, no confidence, no pressure. I feel like that perfectly describes like your run throughout this entire tournament as well as grand final. And you know, talking about the map veto today, I noticed that one thing that Paperton and I were talking about was that you guys really hadn't pulled out Bind before today. So were you kind of like saving it for that grand final to debut it and surprise us, or did the vetoes just play out that way throughout the tournament?
I think, to be honest, the veto just kind of played out that way. We never really played Bind. And then we kept on playing Sunset and Lotus, I think. Well, to be honest, Sunset isn't even our strongest map, so... But we kept getting those maps in our series, so I mean, it's okay.
Awesome. Well, real quick, Aneri, any words for your fans before we let you go?
I would like to thank you everyone for always showing support, and I would like to thank all the haters also. You guys are one of our motivations, so keep up the hate comments. But I mean, aside from everything, I'm joking, but keep up all the love comments also, and thanks for always supporting us. Let's all be positive here. Thank you.
All right. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Aneri. Awesome job today. Congratulations once again. XIPTO will be your Stage 1 champion. So, just insane. I love what we're seeing here from XIPTO. Great job as always. Yeah, I mean, I think I thought she had some really interesting stuff there. Honestly, Zach, like the way she talked about the way they kind of thought through a lot of their ideas, and it seems like they're just comfortable with themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you have a roster core that's been together this long, traveled internationally, represented the region and all that, and they're still here and kicking. So I think that them being able to feel that confidence in themselves and just bring it to the table and showcase it in their gameplay is really nice. I think that from what Aneri said, we can also take away that they're a very adaptive team that's used to making these on-the-fly decisions, doing what seems right in the moment, and because of their experience and because of their, I think Tara as well, with her IGL insight, has been incredible throughout this thing, because the calls that were being made in a lot of these rounds, they just completely confirmed the round for them, whether it was in terms of getting those early control of those ultimates and like just cycling them through, like we highlighted in that map number 1, or like the kind of pushes they were making, their retake setups, the utility usage. I think there's not a single thing that we can point out and say objectively that this is something that they could do better, because it seemed like in this grand final, every single metric that you can score them on, they were like getting like an A+.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, let's take one last look at our bracket before we close things out here today. Just get a refresher on how we got to this final map, this final game, where XIPTO once again will make their undefeated run, but a lot of great games along the way, and I think a lot to look forward to in Stage 2, Zach.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you said it perfectly. While XIPTO did dominate, the other teams, they were looking very competitive and very close in that thing, and that's the nice thing. It's like it's Valorant Game Changers SCA, which means we have 3 teams heading through to VCT Pacific. So, I mean, I'm like 99.9% sure that XIPTO is gonna be one of them. I don't think anybody would fight me on that. Like, if you want to fight me on that, you need some delusion checking. But yeah, XIPTO is gonna be one of those teams for sure. And the other 2 slots, it's gonna be really interesting who does turn out. And I think because there's so much time between Stage 1 and Stage 2, there's just a lot of work that these teams can do on themselves. And I think that for BOBA as well as Oro Differential in particular, because their individual players are already quite strong, it's just a question of like practicing together, getting that those scrims in, and being able to just adapt on the fly like XIPTO did. But XIPTO today, it's a statement that they made. 34-0 last year. They dropped a couple of maps. Every single map that they dropped last year was to Sapphire, if I'm not wrong. And this time around, Sapphire didn't even make it to that top 3. So I think that XIPTO, they are looking even more informed this year.
It's scary for sure, but we look forward to Stage 2. We look forward to seeing what all these teams are going to bring when we get there. Guys, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much to everyone for participating in this tournament, for having me here today. It was an absolute pleasure, Zach, to be with you today. Absolutely killed it. Thanks to our casters, Tay and Tosh. They were so good. And thank you so much to our production team at 1UP and FSL. You guys are awesome. Michael, our producer, shout out to you, man. You were awesome. Thanks so much for helping me through my first day here as a host. Absolutely wonderful tournament. We're going to call it for now, but we'll be back for Stage 2 for VCT Game Changers SCA. We'll see you guys then. Take care, everybody.